94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, KTFM Floresville.
Ahead of the field and throws it down with a right hand.
Your home for the NBA.
San Antonio Sports Center.
The NBA Finals has shifted to the Big Apple in New York City as the San Antonio Spurs look to rebound and get their first win of the series after dropping a heartbreaker on Friday night to go down 0-2 in the series. Tonight's Game 3 marks the first NBA Finals game at Madison Square Garden since 1999. Tip-off is set for 7:30. You can watch the game on ABC. And in the college football world, Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby has been granted a temporary injunction against the NCAA that could clear him to play for the Red Raiders in 2026, even after the Cincinnati transfer quarterback was declared ineligible for wagering in college sports. I'm Edwin Hafner for 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Sports Center is brought to you by Buyers Barricades, the Texas Authority in Barricade Rental. BuyersBarricades.com.
From the studios of San Antonio Sports Star, reaching more sports fans than any station in South Texas. Welcome to the Blitz. 2 decades on the radio, Jason Minix. 2 decades on TV, Joe Reinagel. 2 San Antonio sports voices you've trusted for years. This is the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Man, it is game day. Game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight. It is the Blitz here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star, live at the Roo Pub, 281 and Redland Road. And you know this is the best place to come watch tonight's game. Even if you're feeling kind of blue about the San Antonio Spurs being down 0-2. I'm Jason Minix. Joe Reinagel is on vacation this week. James Pledger is out. You heard Edwin Hafner doing Sports Center right there. Great job, Edwin. And look, I mean, it's all hands on deck, and that's the approach that the San Antonio Spurs have to have tonight. After that heartbreaker on Friday night in Game 2, the confidence level that this team has or doesn't going into it. All the media availability yesterday and today at shoot-around, this group is still loose. It didn't feel like they felt defeated, like they've got no chance to win in New York. And quite frankly, nobody really gave them a chance to win a Game 7 in Oklahoma City, let alone a Game 1 in Oklahoma City, yet they were able to get those wins. But history is against this San Antonio Spurs team. So how are you guys feeling today as you get ready for this Game 3 tonight? And again, I know, you know, when you have a Game 2 on a Friday night and you go all weekend, it's hard not to look back a little bit. And I'll do a little of that. I mean, I want to just put that game behind us, but that turnover by Wemby, that's going to go down in Spurs history as one of those plays that we'll remember forever because of the heartache, especially if the Spurs don't miraculously come back and win this series. You're going to think about that late turnover, and it's going to haunt you. It's like the Manu foul. It's like the Derek Fisher .4, the Ray Allen shot. I know there's probably a couple others in there, but man, when you think about what could have been that fourth quarter, the way they were able to rally back and should have won that game, and they didn't. They could have won Game 1, and I think that's something that if you're a Spurs fan, you've got to look at when you're heading to tonight's Game 3 in New York. It's not like the Knicks have completely outplayed them for 4 quarters like they did Philadelphia or the Cleveland Cavaliers, although Cleveland thought they were getting everything they wanted. They were just getting run out of the building. I mean, that great winning streak, at least for the first time in a while, they didn't win by double digits. It is one of those things that you look at and you go, man, can the Spurs get this done tonight? Edwin is working on getting the poll question up, and when he does, we'll get a gauge of where you're feeling for this finals. I mean, do you give the Spurs a chance tonight? Do you give the Spurs a chance to win a Game 4 on Wednesday? Regardless of what happens tonight, are you just kind of done? I know I've got some friends that were planning to join me here at the Roo Pub tonight, but they're down on the San Antonio Spurs. So it's like, man, I don't know if I want to go out on a Monday and all that. Screw that. It's the NBA Finals. this young team was not expected to be here. And after 2 games isn't the time to jump ship. Now, that said, I've got a table here at the Roo. If you're looking for a place to come watch it, come hang out with me. As long as there's room at the table, you guys can hang. And there's been some of the games, especially during the Western Conference Finals, where, you're standing anyway, and it's a place to set your beer. I'm cool with all of that. Come hang out, because I know where I'm going to be tonight for Game 3. That's just the way it goes. But it is interesting, the mood over the weekend. Friday night, after the game was over, hard to judge anybody leaving the arena because there were so many damn Knicks fans inside the Frost Bank Center. But then you get here, I came to the Roo Pub, and it was somber. Over the weekend, out and about, it's kind of somber. You get, a 24-hour rule. There's Spurs win tonight. Man, who knows? And you look at just the complete craziness and chaos, if you will, of what's going on in New York City. Because President Trump is going to the game tonight, you're hearing all kinds of people complaining about the security. I saw a video earlier. They're already towing cars that are in the closed-off zone. So obviously doesn't affect you unless you're listening in from New York. But if you left your car there, it's gone. They're already towing cars. But one of the other things that is happening, and I don't know if you blame the president going and the security nightmare that goes with that, but the ticket prices are crashing. That market, if you are, New Yorker, the ticket prices, everything that you've read, not so bad. I mean, it's still ridiculous, but again, as we talked about last week, just because people are asking for that money doesn't mean they're going to sell for that money. I mean, people can ask for what they want, but as the game gets closer, those tickets that aren't sold, those prices are going to drop. And the market is crashing. And I can't imagine in New York that the market is crashing because the Knicks are up in the series 2-0. But you can say the pain in the ass level of going to the game got so high with the president going that it's made it even more difficult. I mean, even De'Aaron Fox was saying earlier that for the players and the security that they have to go through to get into the building is crazy. So if it's crazy for them, the average fan, the media that are going, and again, I know there are people out there that don't think the president should go because it's the chaos that it creates. First time a sitting president has ever gone to an NBA Finals game, which I find remarkable. But at the same time, you understand when the president is around, the security that is going to go with it. With the Army-Navy game that we go to every year, doesn't matter what president and the popularity, the security that comes with being around a president is incredible. I remember being in the middle of the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, when I was in the Navy on the USS Seattle. And then President Bill Clinton was flying in, and he was going to do a speech and a meet and greet with the sailors on the Theodore Roosevelt, the aircraft carrier. And I was a public affairs officer in the Navy, so I was over on the Roosevelt. We're in the middle of the ocean on a military ship. The president is flying in, and the security that we had to go through. It's, that just comes with the territory. And the good news, if you want to call it that, there's plenty of warning. Nobody's going to show up 30 minutes before the game and get caught off guard. If you haven't heard by now that the president is going, in the video and everything that's going to go with it, it'd be more interesting. In the meantime, how are you feeling about the game? You want to talk about game 2? Who you blaming? Mitch for not calling a timeout? I get it. Wemby for passing the ball when I think all of us, at least me, I thought he was just going to dribble it up because that's what Wemby does. And I think that's what Steph Castle thought was going to happen. Wemby should never have made that pass. I mean, you see the back of the guy's jersey, you don't throw the ball. It's crazy when you think about how everything transpired in that play, and they still had a chance to win it at the buzzer. That look that Wemby got was the look that you would want. I would have run something a little more inside and let him try to get a dunk or get to the free throw line. But in reality, he makes that shot 9 out of 10 times. He had the look that he wanted. It just didn't go in. He had a couple other misses in the final 30, 40 seconds that were there. But that great comeback, is that something that can carry over into tonight's game 3? Because it did look like there in that fourth quarter, they finally figured something out against the New York Knicks. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. You want to call in? It's me and you today. Talk about game 2. Look ahead to game 3. We'll hear from a lot of the players. Coming up, we will go inside the Garden twice. Spurs TV play-by-play man Jacob Tobey will be on about 3:35 to talk about what it's like at MSG right now and what the team has been doing this weekend. Plus 5:35. Don Harris from News 4 will be on as we are at that point really close to tip-off time. And, of course, me and you the rest of the way. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. You can always comment on YouTube. Just go to sasportstar.com and click in through the YouTube page. If you're already on YouTube, search out San Antonio Sports Star. On Twitter, I am at Jason Minix. I see one of the comments, Joe's really taking off vacation right now. He is. He is. There was a time when you were covering the San Antonio Spurs team that you knew you didn't schedule a vacation in June. We haven't had that problem for years, and we certainly didn't expect to have that problem this year. I know Joe has scheduled his vacation, and nobody buys trip insurance, and who the hell wants to cancel a beach trip anyway to Mexico, right? So in reality, Joe's on vacation. I'm leaving next week. I'll be in the Grand Caymans next week. That's why I was really hoping Spurs in 5 so they could win this thing before I head to vacation. And it's the same kind of thing. Next year, we're not going to be scheduling June vacations, back to July vacations only after that. It goes with the territory. It's kind of like Mike, the GM here at Roo Pub. He wishes he'd be on vacation right now, but he now knows he can't schedule a June vacation either because the Roo Pub is going to be crazy as hell tonight. And it's kind of, like right now it's quiet. It was busy at lunch, and now it's kind of quiet. Just, I don't know, 10, 12, 15 people, mainly at the bar. One guy's got his laptop up pretending to work. My laptop is up pretending to work, and you're just anxiously waiting to get there. But you know the deal. Get to the Roo Pub early because this place is going to be jam-packed later tonight. And you want to be in an environment where the atmosphere is going to be a lot of fun for a big game like tonight. This isn't one of those nights where you want to be saying, well, yeah, I was in the living room with my dog. No, get out here to the Roo Pub. 281 and Redland Road is where we're going to be. More Spurs talk, your phone calls, and we'll hear from Wemby and Mitch Johnson as we continue here at the Roo Pub on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The San Antonio Gunslingers are out on the road battling across the league, but they're coming back home strong. Mark your calendars. Saturday, June 13th, they ride into town to take on New Mexico in a huge home showdown. Stay locked in with the team on social media and at SanAntonioGunslingers.com. Tickets for the June 13th home game are on sale now. Get yours today and bring the family out for professional indoor football. The San Antonio Gunslingers, lock and load.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from IQ Bar. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at eatiqbar.com/policy/terms of service.
I've got good news and bad news. Here's the bad news. Most protein bars are packed with sugar and unpronounceable ingredients. The good news? There's a better option. I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar plant protein bars to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. IQ bars are packed with 12 grams of protein, brain nutrients like magnesium and lion's mane, and zero weird stuff. And right now, you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus free shipping. Clean ingredients, amazing taste, and you'll love how you feel. Refuel smarter, hydrate harder, caffeinate larger with IQ Bar.
Try our delicious IQ Bar sampler pack with 9 plant protein bars, 8 hydration mixes, and 4 mushroom coffee sticks. And now you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping when you text RADIO to 64,000. Text RADIO to 64,000 to get your 20% off. That's RADIO to 64,000.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The Gomez Law Firm is one of the most trusted names in personal injury law across the state of Texas. We have Jose here with the Gomez Law Firm to share what makes working with your firm different than others in the area.
We pride ourselves as being an open line of communications. We don't have an automated service. You're not going to ever dial our phone number and get some robot on the other line. You're always going to get a person 24/7. Our principal office is here in San Antonio. Mr. Gomez was born and raised here, practicing law here in San Antonio in his community for 50 years. There are not many attorneys that can say that.
Thank you to the Gomez Law Firm for continuing to fight for our community. The Gomez Law Firm is San Antonio.
If you've been injured, if you've been involved in an accident, you've been involved in a car wreck, call the Gomez Law Firm.
Visit joegomezlaw.com. That's joegomezlaw.com for one of the most trusted names in personal injury.
And remember, Gomez Law fights.
Injuries happen, and when they do, skip the ER and get to the Ortho Now Injury Clinic by TSAOG Orthopedics and Spine. Ortho Now provides walk-in care for injuries like broken bones, dislocations, sprains, and strains. Conveniently located in the Quarry area with extended hours Monday through Saturday with on-site x-ray casting and bracing, Ortho Now has everything you need to treat your injury, and best of all, no urgent care or emergency room copay. Learn more online at tsaog.com.
Hi, everybody. Joe Reinigal here for Window Nation. It is June. Summer is here along with those hot summer days, and that means constant AC use and high energy bills. It is time to upgrade your home's windows this month during Window Nation's Buy 4, Get 4 free sale. Imagine replacing all your windows with new energy-efficient ones and getting half of them for free. Plus, you could even get them with no money down and no monthly payment or interest for 2 years. Don't wait to put an end to your window problems. Sale ends soon, so visit windownation.com to book that consultation.
Got a buddy who thinks he knows baseball? Perfect. On Rangers game days, prove it with the Morning Huddle's Rangers Double Dinger Payday. Pick the Ranger you think will launch it out of here. He hits one, you and a friend are headed to a Rangers game. He hits two. Now you've got tickets and hotel. Yeah, you're making a night of it, and your buddy's buying the first round. Wake up with the Morning Huddle. Call your shot and win the Morning Huddle's Rangers Double Dinger Payday. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, South Texas home of the Texas Rangers. It's the Blitz with Jason and Joe on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It is the Blitz here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. If you're watching on YouTube, appreciate that. If you're not, you can always watch on YouTube. Comment there, sasportstar.com, and click on through to the YouTube channel as you get ready for tonight's game. And really the keys for tonight's game. You think about, I was doing a interview with my friends at the Fan in Portland this morning, and they asked me, who has been the most disappointing player so far in the series? And they were a little surprised. My answer was Wemby. And look, Wemby was great in the fourth quarter the other night, but he wasn't great in the first half. He wasn't great in the first half in game one either. And in the fourth quarter of game one, Jalen Brunson was great. Wemby was not. The Knicks got the win. Wemby is the best player on this team. Wemby is going to be the face of the league if he's not already. But Wemby has to dominate. Wemby has to insert himself early. Even if he's not scoring, he's got to take some shots. He's got to be a focal point. He can't be passive. And I thought he was extremely passive at the beginning of game two, which quite honestly shocked the hell out of me after the way they lost game one. There's been I can't tell you how many times I've talked about a pissed off Wemby is what I want to see. I thought we would see that at the start of game two, and we didn't. And I don't know if it's Wemby just being tired or what the Knicks are doing, maybe a combination of both. But this is where Wemby has to put this team on his back, and he's got to carry them. He has got to set the tone tonight. It was interesting in the fourth quarter of game 2 when you saw Wemby in that timeout huddle yelling at his teammates. And I'm thinking, how have you watched what you've done? What are you watching to where you're going to yell at the people like that? Although it worked because he was fired up too, and they had the opportunity before he had the costly turnover, before he missed the potential game winner. And again, I had no problem with that shot. It's the one that you would want. It's one that he makes, 9 out of 10 times. But he was not overly aggressive in the first half. He's got to be. I mean, Wemby has to be. I mean, we could talk about Julian Champagnie making a shot in the second half, which he's not done in either of the first 2 games. De'Aaron Fox had a poor game 1, but rebounded well in game 2. But I look at Dylan Harper, I think is going to have a huge game tonight, and he's going to have to. And I've seen a lot of people over the weekend knee-jerk reacting, and I get it. We're all, do this, do that. Mitch Johnson is not going to change the starting lineup. I say that. I'd be shocked if Mitch Johnson changed the starting lineup. I've seen a lot of people, bench Julian and start Harrison, or bench Julian and start Dylan Harper. I mean, it's possible. I mean, Dylan Harper, he's a starter on any other team, and probably if he's a starter on any other team, wins Rookie of the Year or finishes second. Dude is a stud. And I don't care, like Manu Ginobili, who starts the game, doesn't matter. Who's on the floor when the game is over. And I think that's why so many people are angry in game 1, because Dylan Harper didn't have those minutes late. De'Aaron Fox did, and it's not like De'Aaron Fox was lighting things up. So it will be interesting to see what can happen. But I do think Dylan Harper has to have an impactful game tonight. And you kind of go from there. I mean, Wemby has to get off to a great start, and dominate on both ends. And I do think that's a big reason why he's tired. I mean, the idea that he's playing both ends and they're making him work. Karl Anthony Towns might be playing the best basketball of his NBA career in this game. He was playing like a grown-ass man the other night in game 2, and Wemby looks like he's figuring it out. And maybe that's what we're watching. Just when it's all said and done, are we just seeing the realization of a young team that hasn't been there before? Finally, that inexperience, that youth is showing up. We didn't see it against Minnesota. We didn't see it against Oklahoma City for the most part. But you look at some of the mistakes they are making over the first 2 games that we haven't seen them make. Credit the New York Knicks, but is it in the moment? Are the Spurs ready for it? Can they handle it? That is kind of the, one way that you could look at it. I mean, you think about everything that they're doing. And again, Wemby, he was asked about dealing with the pressure of playing in the NBA Finals.
I think the key is acceptance a lot of times, and taking a step back, realizing the journey that's behind us and what's ahead of us, and just being okay with who I am, where I am, what I'm doing. I think at the end of the day, this is everything that I wish for. So there's no reason to really overthink it, this is what I'm built for.
It's what he's built for. He's talked about it. And we have seen him in big moments struggle in rebounding and learn from it. You generally don't see Wemby making the same mistake twice. And when he talked about, things were still a little blurry for him because, in that, what does that tell you? The game's moving too fast. And he knows that needs to slow down for him. He was asked yesterday during the media portion of the session, what were the biggest lessons he's learned over the first 2 games of the series?
The biggest lesson is that we need to, capitalize and actually use all the efforts we did, because it felt like we did a lot. We did a lot of things wrong, but we also were relentless and kept pushing. But kind of like wasted that effort, even though I know it's not wasted because our lessons are learned. And I know we're not going to make the mistakes of the past again, but in a moment like this, we need to make these things matter.
Well, and again, you look at it, all of us can play armchair quarterback. And, I'm seeing a comment right now on YouTube. Someone needs to teach Mitch Johnson how to call a timeout. Here's the thing. And we talked about this in that Minnesota series. That's what the Spurs do. You and I can disagree with Mitch Johnson on the way he's running his team. But Mitch Johnson is at least consistent, and his reasoning is sound. And they use data. They use the analytics for why they don't call a timeout to run a set play. And when they miss those opportunities, like they did against Minnesota, Julian Champagnie had a great look. It didn't go down. Wemby ended up with a turnover. That sucks. But Mitch Johnson, I would have called the timeout. You would have called the timeout. Mitch Johnson likes to get the rebound and push the ball. And then you're going in transition. Defense doesn't have time to set. My guess is in those situations, they have set plays that they know they are going to run. Whatever code word they use or just situational basketball, this happens, this is what we're doing. And they've been consistent with that all year. It doesn't mean it's right, but it's what Mitch Johnson does. And when it doesn't work, that's why the guy makes the big bucks, right? Because he's the head coach. But when I see that, teach him how to – he doesn't call timeouts there. Nobody was expecting a timeout there. Now, you go back and you think about the Minnesota series. Wemby hesitated for a moment. Was he expecting a timeout? The other night, he didn't. You saw Steph Castle, because we've all watched that video over and over and over. You can't get on YouTube, Twitter, watch TV. You see Castle look like he's looking over at the bench. There was some sort of, hesitation. Then he's gone, and then Wemby throws the ball and hits him in the back. Jalen Brunson gets it, and then Wemby fouls him. What were they expecting? You got a 7'5" guy that's used to bringing the ball up the floor. So I wasn't mad at Steph Castle. I know there were a lot of people around me that thought that Castle should have gotten that ball, or maybe De'Aaron Fox, and let one of those guys bring up the ball. But we have seen Wemby bring the ball up a gazillion times. You got a 7'5" guy that thinks he can be a point guard, right? So when you look at it, you look at all of that, it was on Wemby. I mean, Wemby pushing the ball, it made a pass instead of dribbling it up. Steph Castle clearly thought that Wemby was going to bring the ball up. Castle was trying to get into whatever offense they were going to get in and try to take a final shot and win the game. And in that situation, in that moment, worst thing that happens is you go to overtime, which to me is another reason why Mitch Johnson, you take a timeout there and make sure that you don't have a blunder like what Wemby had. Because you take a timeout there, you draw something up, and you make sure you take the final shot. And again, the worst thing that happens is that game goes to overtime. Because I'm with you. I know a lot of you could still see, on our YouTube page, that people are still pissed at the end of that game. And I don't blame you. That play, that turnover by Wemby, and I know because we're not supposed to criticize that guy. The comments that me and Joe get when we're critical of Wemby, and you can't criticize the guy, but so many of you think he can do no wrong. Even I think you guys are mad at Wemby for that blunder. And again, doesn't mean we don't love him. Still love Manu. Still mad about that foul on Dirk years ago. And Wemby's play is now in that same category as the Manu foul. That's one of the worst moments in franchise history. And if the Spurs don't somehow come back and win this series, we're going to look at that play at the end of game 2 is what decided the Spurs winning a title this year or not winning a title this year. Obviously, some more things have to happen with a big game 3 tonight, but you lose 2 games at home to think you're going to still win the series, that's a tall order. It would be history-making if the Spurs are able to pull that off and come back and win this series. Now, teams have come back down from 0-2 in the finals. 2021, the Milwaukee Bucks did it. 2016, Cleveland. 2006, Miami. The 77 Portland Trailblazers and the Boston Celtics. 5 times, 5 teams have come back from being down 0-2 in the NBA Finals to win the championship. But none of those teams lost the first 2 games at home. That's never happened. No team in finals history has lost the first 2 games at home and won the championship. So the Spurs are up against it from an historical standpoint, but they've been bucking the odds this entire season. Now, our poll question on YouTube, just simple, how you feeling? Confident? Spurs are going to win this series. Won't win, but they'll at least push it to 6. Or you just hope they won't get swept. That is the poll question on YouTube. You can go vote in the poll at sasportstar.com and click into YouTube. If you're on YouTube, just search out San Antonio Sports Star, and you'll be able to find it and vote in the poll. And, of course, we'll take your calls as well. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. More Spurs talk as we continue here from the Roo Pub, 281 and Redland Road here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. And, of course, you know the Roo Pub is where you want to be tonight to watch tonight's Game 3, or really any big game, any big event. With the World Cup right around the corner, you know there's no better spot than the Roo Pub with those 3 massive 170-inch screens, TVs all around. And the food here is fantastic. Love the fried shrimp here. They have the biggest and best wings in town, about 15 different burgers on the menu, great chicken sandwich, their hot dogs, their salads, I'm told, are wonderful. The appetizers, these little corn dog bites that I had for lunch, they're addicting as hell. Get them. Here at the Roo Pub, the kitchen is open late every day with the full menu available. So when you need a late night meal, don't go to a drive-thru. Get into the Roo Pub at 281 and Redland Road. Great for lunch, great for dinner, great for late at night, and the best place to watch a game. Just down from the big blind, right next to the Angry Elephant. The Roo Pub, 281 and Redland Road. We'll see you at the Roo.
As a social influencer, my days can be busy. 4 a.m., I hit the gym. 4:32, protein smoothie. 5:08, save time and money bundling my home and auto insurance with Progressive. Wait, if I bundle and save time, what would I do then? Just sit here and reflect? Like, why am I qualified to influence anyone? And how those weights are hollow? And half of my followers are bots.
You could save time and money bundling your home and auto when you switch to Progressive. It's one less thing to worry about during your already busy day. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Missions fans, celebrate Tuesdays for the Cultura at Wolf Stadium with AARP $2 Tuesdays. Presented by San Antonio Sports Star. $2 tickets, beer, hot dogs, and more. Every Tuesday home game. Get your tickets at samissions.com.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She can get a deal, book telehealth if she feels.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
Attention soccer fans. House of Cards and Collectibles on Vance Jackson has the 2026 Panini Prism FIFA Soccer Card Packs in stock. Pull cards from Mbappe, Messi, Kane, Bellingham, and many more. Find autographs and serial numbered cards randomly inserted. House of Cards and Collectibles also has FIFA World Cup sticker albums and packs. Come in today before they're all gone. House of Cards and Collectibles at 2105 Vance Jackson Road.
Game 4 is Wednesday. Check out the Doghouse Beer Garden on Stone Oak Parkway. Pre-game with a live broadcast of the Blitz from 2 to 6, and then stick around and watch the game. Gourmet dogs, burgers, cold beer, and Game 4. See you Wednesday at the Doghouse Beer Garden on Stone Oak Parkway.
When snack time calls, Pork Rinds answers. Be your own crunch time hero with Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds. Skip the chip and go straight for the ultimate crunch that's low carb, high protein, and loaded with bold flavor. We're talking sweet barbecue or hot honey. Yeah, it's that good. Snack smarter, crunch harder. Stock up on Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds at H-E-B or head to porkrinds.com. Make Southern Recipe your crunch time hero.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles?
It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment.
Visit mintmobile.com/radio. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Come on, Edwin, that's what you picked? Falling into the celebrity trap game of what it's going to be like at Madison Square Garden ahead of Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Glad to have you along here on the Blitz on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. Joe is on vacation. I'm Jason Minix. We are live at the Roo Pub here at 281 and Redland Road, getting ready for tonight's big Game 3. No better place to come watch the game than here at the Roo Pub. And I'll tell you what, the confidence level seems to be all over the place. You guys are all over the map based on some of the comments I'm seeing on at YouTube. You want to talk about it, 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Our poll question, how you feeling right now? 39% say just hope they won't get swept. 39% confident will win the series. And 22% say the Spurs aren't going to win the title, but they'll push it to at least 6. So they'll get competitive. They won't get embarrassed and swept. Just find it interesting that it's from still winning the series to just don't get swept is even. That's pretty damn funny. Go vote in the poll there on YouTube, sasportstar.com. And again, we're all frustrated because it doesn't feel like for 4 quarters or 8 quarters for that matter, that the Knicks have been the superior team. The Spurs had double-digit leads in both Game 1 and Game 2. And the Knicks are a far better team than I think a lot of us thought they were coming in. And quite frankly, and you heard me say this for the last week, I wasn't sure how good the Knicks were. I mean, obviously they're a good team. They wouldn't be in the NBA Finals. But the East is so bad, and those Eastern Conference playoff games were so one-sided that it was really hard to tell just how good this Knicks team was. I mean, trying to gauge the proper respect. How many of us said, me included, that the true NBA Finals were happening in the Western Conference Finals? And, the Knicks said, hold my beer. And now they're up 2-0 in the series. Now, clearly, the Spurs' road to the NBA Finals, much tougher road than what the New York Knicks have. And you wonder if you're just seeing that physical toll and mental toll, for that matter, showing up for the Spurs at the worst possible time because the Knicks were so well rested and not tested. Sometimes that can work against you, though, when it's easy because now you're in a dogfight and you're not prepared. The Spurs have been in dogfights in the second round and in the Western Conference Finals. And what do they have left in the tank? But it's also the inexperience. I mean, you're seeing the Spurs make mistakes that we haven't seen them make. You know, all the young Spurs talk and those mental mistakes, we thought you'd see that in the second round, or maybe you would see that in the Western Conference Finals. And as Mitch Johnson said, they're not playing Spurs basketball at this point.
Yeah, I think, when you break down the 96 minutes of the two games in the fourth quarter, as you said, we've done some things well. I think we have not played to our standard. New York's played very well. They have something to do with that, and we have to just be better at some of those things. We got them late clock a ton. We fouled Anunoby on a three, baseline out of bounds. Brunson gets a quick pass to a layup without any resistance. And then obviously, loose ball foul there at the end, like you said. We've put ourselves in positions at times to make them miss, and we have to clean up the rebound and finish possessions out. And we have to be better again at taking advantage of when we put ourselves in good starting spots to take advantage of the things that we are doing well. And I think that's probably been, if there's a thematic thing, the biggest thing is when we've put in some good hard work at times and have not taken advantage of that hard work. And that's been partially some undisciplined things of us, and partially also, New York stepped up and made some plays at the end of the clock and to finish out possessions.
Well, and again, and all of that is true. Now, Mitch Johnson does have a great pulse on his team, and he was asked how the boys have handled the loss after game 2.
Same routine as we've had throughout the playoffs. You dig into the film, you argue, you beat yourself up, you give each other feedback, figure out how to help the guys for the next game. Just trying to improve on things that we know that we have to be better at and settle into the series and try to continue to get better.
Well, and again, you think about in game 1, they were awful from 3-point range. Game 2, well, they were just awful. Would they shoot 19% in the second quarter of game 2? Which is awful. Still had a chance to win that game at the end. Shot better from 3, but they had a ton of missed free throws, and they lose a game by 1. I mean, you just look at all the different things that say, man, they let that one get away. And you've heard a lot of the players saying that. And it's not that they're being cocky or anything like that. But down 0-2 in a series, they're spending more time talking about their mistakes as opposed to New York kicking their ass, because I think they're being fair and they're being honest. But as Mitch Johnson said in game 3, they can't make those silly mistakes and expect to get a win tonight at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, I mean, we're at a stage now where the next game is going to be the biggest game until we're not playing. And we have to continue to execute and compete and finish plays and move on to the next play and understand that, there are going to be circumstances, there's going to be outcomes throughout a game that may not go your way. And we have to continue to be better at the things that we can control and be better at the things that we can influence.
210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. You want to talk about tonight's game, kind of rehash and bitch about what you saw at game 2. You can do that like Frank wants to bitch about Mitch Johnson. Frank, you're on the Blitz. What's going on, man?
Hey, Jason, thanks for taking my call. Let me just say this. Admittedly, I turned off the game at halftime just because I was so upset and disappointed in their play. So I'm going to try to articulate this as clearly and calmly as I can in the hopes that someone from the Spurs organization is listening so that they can work on this, probably not in this series, but hopefully next year. Because I put this loss squarely on the shoulders of Mitch and the whole coaching staff. Their failure to identify or maybe take corrective action on this glaring problem that's affected the team all season long. And it showed, it was probably about the 5.5 minute mark of the second quarter. And I counted at least 4 straight Knicks possessions where they could not make a basket. And we in turn grabbed the rebound, went up and shot a 3. Of course we missed and it played out again. Second rebound, went down, shot a 3, missed. The third was I think it was Vassell, passed it to Wemby, and then Wemby passed back backcourt violation. And then, of course, the fourth time, Knicks went down, took a shot. We got the rebound, shot an ill-advised three. And it wasn't until the fifth time that the Knicks went and they finally scored. They took the lead by one. And then the way that we closed out the second quarter on that Knick little run, it was just disappointing and disgusting. I don't know why no one is in Mitch's ear. Maybe some assistant coach, somebody sitting in the second row, someone from the video room to identify, like, hey, Mitch, like, this is our second time down here shooting threes.
So
we're not making it.
Frank, you're a regular listener of the show. You're not tuning in for the first time today, correct?
Correct. I'm a delivery driver, so I listen to your show, and I'm always on and off the truck. So you guys give me through.
You've heard me complain about this for years, and it's not just Mitch Johnson, although it's Mitch Johnson's team now. Even Pop, who was anti-3 for a while, came around on 3 is better than 2. It drives me nuts, and you've heard me say this I don't know how many times, when you see the Spurs jacking up a 3 with 16, 17, 18, 19 seconds on the shot clock. But it's what they do. And their analytics tell you that's the right thing to do in those situations. As an old school basketball guy, for me, it's not, Frank, and I'm with you. It's frustrating. When they're making them, it's great, right? When they're missing them, even, if you were sitting here at the Roo Pub with me during any of these games, you hear me, I don't like that shot even when they go in. I'm happy, but I still don't like the shot. But that's what they do, and it's an analytics-driven stat or play or whatever you want to call it. But nobody, as you started the call, Frank, is saying, somebody that's listening over at the office, and they do listen, although they're probably all in New York right now. They all heard it. All of that's by design. It's not like their players are doing that on their own. That's just part of their offense. It drives us all nuts, but hard to bitch, honestly, as you think about that. When you're complaining about what they're doing, and we're prisoner of the moment following a Game 2 loss in those examples. They're in the NBA Finals. Nobody expected this team to be in the NBA Finals. So it can't be all wrong what they're doing. It's like taking the timeout late. I don't agree with Mitch's philosophy there. I say take the timeout there. But he has consistently done the same thing. And if you're going to consistently do it, I don't have to agree with you. But I totally understand where you're coming from, or maybe not, but I get it. I don't expect you to take a timeout in that situation. If you're playing blackjack, everybody, has their idea. You know what the book says, but there are some people that, they're always going to hit on 12. Well, the book says you don't. Or there's something that people do, no matter what you do, even if it's wrong, if you're doing it consistently, that's your style, and you go there. So I understand what Frank was saying there on the phone, but you're in the NBA Finals, but you're trying to tell a guy that was a Coach of the Year finalist who won over 60 games when nobody thought they would, and they rolled through the West. He doesn't know what he's doing. I don't think somebody needs to sit Mitch Johnson down and tell him how to coach basketball. He has earned the job. And I look at Mitch Johnson, and you can go back a year from now, or however many months ago it was, when they promoted him. I was surprised. And I can't say that I was a fan of them promoting from within, because I don't know Mitch Johnson. I think we know him now. But when you think about some of the names that were being talked about that could eventually replace Greg Popovich, Mitch Johnson was not one of those big name guys. And they promoted from within, but he's made me a believer. I would like to think that he's made you a believer. This fly that keeps buzzing around made that fly a believer. And so you look at it, I just look at this and I get the bitching. I do, and the frustration with these Spurs down 0-2. But they're in the finals. So what they're doing works. It's not working right now against the New York Knicks. So the question is, what can they do to get it to work? This roster matched up well with Oklahoma City. It's not matching up. Excuse me. It's not matching up well with the New York Knicks because the Knicks have such a big front line. And when SGA was shut down in the last series, or Anthony Edwards in the series before that, there wasn't somebody else there to pick up the slack for the Thunder outside of Alex Caruso. The Knicks have a couple of different people that are hurting the San Antonio Spurs. They've done a hell of a job on Jalen Brunson, but what has Brunson done? When it's mattered the most, that superstar has played like a superstar. His fourth quarter of game one was incredible. He wasn't great in the fourth quarter in game two, but man, he made some big-time shots, a couple of big-time shots. Missed the free throw, though, that left the door open. And I'm guessing if they were getting ready for game three tonight, 1-1, Frank's call would be completely different. But down 0-2, in how we react and overreact to everything, that is there. But some of the things that I've seen from Mitch, I think are worthy of bitching about. The way they're running their offense, I don't like it. I don't have to like it, but I can't say that it's completely wrong because that has gotten them to the NBA Finals. But for whatever reason, against the New York Knicks, those plays aren't working. And Mitch Johnson was even asked yesterday about the Spurs not taking advantage of their transition opportunities.
Yeah, some of that is, more in a vacuum, I think, in terms of like not the same things happening over and over, but sometimes the result cannot be as consistent as you want. So what I mean by that is we've had a few turnovers in transition that are not have been as common throughout the season, and there really hasn't been a real clear theme of why that is, other than just not making the right play or not finishing those advantages out as we have throughout the season. But it is a huge part of the game for us when we are at our best and we have to take advantage of those. We've got actually from some of those having an advantage turning over than actually going from looking like we're probably getting a bucket to giving up a bucket. And those are big swings in the game when you start talking about the margins of errors at this level.
And when you look at that, it almost feels like the young head coach, remember, this is his first year as a head coach, and Mike Brown is coaching circles around him right now. But when you hear that from the coach, that plain honesty, is that the inexperience showing up for the San Antonio Spurs, the ready for the moment? I mean, they can say all the right things, and they have said all the right things, but their play on the court looks like they're making mistakes young teams make. It looks like the kind of mistakes they were making in Wemby's rookie year, or to a degree last year before De'Aaron Fox showed up. And, youth and inexperience versus a Knicks team. And this Knicks group has had some playoff hurt. They've been there, not in the finals, obviously, but going through a couple of playoff runs as a group to finally get to the NBA Finals and have a 2-0 series lead. And you think about some of the issues that they had a couple of years ago when they lost in the second round, or even last year when a lot of people thought that Knicks team might make it to the NBA Finals. And so you look at tonight's game as a game three, the one thing, and I'm glad that guys like Harrison Barnes have been talking about it, while we all say, it's a great learning experience for this young Spurs team, they're going to get a bunch of these. You just never know. I mean, an injury here, an injury there. Last year, everybody thought Oklahoma City was going to be a dynasty and win many in a row, and they can't go back-to-back. What have we had? 8 straight years of different NBA champs. So, you can't lay back and say, well, all right, next year and the year after, we're going to collect all of these kind of deals, right? So it is one of those see what they're like tonight. And I think really how they start, although they've had great starts in this series, but I'm looking at specifically Victor. Victor has to be aggressive early and get off to a great start and set the tone. The one thing I thought he'd be able to do is get Karl Anthony Towns into foul trouble, and he really hasn't been able to accomplish that in the first 2 games of the series. 210-656-ESPN, 3776. You can always comment on YouTube as well. You can vote in our YouTube poll. How you feeling about the Spurs? Confident they'll win the series. That's at 34%. Just hope they won't get swept is at 44% right now. And won't win it all, but will push this series to at least 6 is at 21%. Go vote in the poll. Call in, talk about it, be a part of the show on this game day Monday. And come on over to the Roo Pub and get ready to watch tonight's game. 281 and Redland Road. More coming up here on the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Riding 410 with the Blitz. Afternoons 2 to 6, KTFM Floresville, and everywhere at sasportstar.com.
Let me tell you about my good friends at Stevens Roofing. Love talking about Stevens Roofing. Great family, locally owned company, a company that's been in business here in San Antonio and South Texas since 1983. That should really tell you everything you need to know about Stevens Roofing and Solar. And I tell you what, with all the recent rains that we've had, you might want them to check your roof to make sure that everything is okay, because I'm not sure these storms are over. Either way, you need to get it checked out before small problems turn into big problems. Here's what you do. You call Stevens Roofing and Solar, 210-785-0994. They're going to send an experienced team out to your house. They'll inspect your roof. They'll do it for free, and they'll let you know if everything is okay or if there are some things that need to be taken care of. Stevens Roofing and Solar, the absolute best in the business, 210-785-0994, or you can visit them online at stevensroofing.net.
I've taken up candle making. Nigel, the whole office smells like wet dog and gym socks. My nose is highly refined.
Folks, if your home smells a little off, it might be your AC. Watermoon's Breathe Easy package pulls and deep cleans your blower motor, blower wheel, and housing, cleans your coil in place, disinfects the inside of your AC cabinet, and installs a UV light to help zap bacteria and other nasties hiding in your unit. All for just $6.95.
Quarter-room plumbing, heat, and AC, 210-651-5899. License number TACL 8141074EM16004.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She could get a deal. Book telehealth if she feels.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
Attention taxpayers. If you or your business owe the IRS back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, the IRS has greenlighted billions of dollars in tax relief to those facing financial hardship through its tax relief initiatives. If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at TaxPro USA to see if you qualify by dialing 800-444-9112. If you or your business owe at least $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS or state, you can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Call TaxPro USA to get your free tax assessment to see what you qualify for by dialing 800-444-9112. 800-444-9112. That's 800-444-9112.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
This summer, the Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich and Pineapple Dragon Fruit and Sprite are back at Chick-fil-A.
Girl, it's back. We've been waiting. I love that honey pepper pimento sandwich.
And that pineapple dragon fruit and Sprite is everything. It's got that razzle-dazzle that makes you stop and say, okay, wait a minute.
I love the creaminess of the pimento cheese. It's savory. It's bold. It's flavorful.
Our faves are back. I found girl.
Which fan favorite will you choose? Real customers paid for their testimonials.
San Antonio's Sports Center.
The NBA Finals has shifted to the Big Apple in New York City as the San Antonio Spurs look to rebound and get their first win of the series after dropping a heartbreaker on Friday night to go down 0-2 in the series. Tonight's Game 3 marks the first NBA Finals game at Madison Square Garden since 1999. Tip-off is set for 7:30. You can watch the game on ABC. And in the college football world, Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby has been granted a temporary injunction against the NCAA that could clear him to play for the Red Raiders in 2026, even after the Cincinnati transfer quarterback was declared ineligible for wagering college sports. I'm Edwin Hafner for 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
From the studios of San Antonio Sports Star, reaching more sports fans than any station in South Texas. Welcome to the Blitz. 2 decades on the radio, Jason Minix. 2 decades on TV, Joe Reinagel. 2 San Antonio sports voices you've trusted for years. This is the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It is the Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. I'm Jason Minix. Joe Reinagel, he is on vacation because none of us expected the Spurs to be in the NBA Finals. So he's on a beach somewhere in Mexico right now, and I can't blame him because next week I'll be on a beach in the Grand Caymans because, again, none of us expected the Spurs to be in the NBA Finals. Next year, I promise, no June vacation. So that's just part of it. But so it's me and you today on this game day. Game 3 happening tonight. Now, I wish you guys could see what was going on here at the Roo Pub at 281 and Redland Road. Remember, there was some video the other day when all the ESPN crews were doing their shows down by the Alamo, and there was a photo circulating and some video of a production assistant that was fanning, had some sort of like air conditioning deal for Stephen A. Smith because, kind of stopping the sweat. I don't have that. We're not all fancy like that, but kind of do today because there is this fly that is annoying the hell out of me at the Roo Pub. So we asked for a fly swatter. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, I'll show you. This is the most high-tech looking fly swatter I think I've ever seen. Now, at home, I've got something called a bug assault, which is one of those cool guns that you put salt in and you shoot the fly and it sends the fly flying and it kills them. It's entertaining. It is sport, right? And when I'm barbecuing and I'm outside and I'm, by the grill, I'm shooting flies. I have a lot of fun with it. So I don't have my bug assault here, and I'm kind of glad because Halen, our engineer today, he's on fly swatter patrol. So he is standing over me, ready to swat flies with this fly contraption thing, which is pretty cool. I'm glad he doesn't have the bug assault because he would be shooting the hell out of me if that were the case. So I just hope that he's pretty good at pickleball or something because this fly swatter kind of looks like a pickleball paddle. And if he misses, he might hit me upside the head. Now, that might be enough for some of you to go watch on YouTube just to see if he'll actually hit me in the head live on radio and on YouTube because you would like to hit me upside the head, which is certainly understandable at times. And really, if Joe were here, you would want Joe to get hit. See, and I've realized one of the great things about my partner, Joe Reinagel, who's been a really good friend of mine since 1993. Joe and I go way, way back. And I realize he's also insect repellent because all these flies would get stuck in his hair and never be seen again. If we come to Roo Pub all the time. I've never had a fly around here, and I realize it's because Joe's hair isn't here to collect them all. I've never asked the dude if he finds bugs in his hair, but I've got to believe as much product as that guy uses, a fly's not getting out of there if it lands on Joe's head. We'll see. Comes with the territory. I can say that. Did you see it? You're trying to. You should see this guy. I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted, but like he's trying to walk up on a fly slowly, like that ever works, And his hand-eye coordination isn't good enough for him to just go catch the fly and get rid of it. Although he was trying that earlier. He's not an athletic type. Nor is he a sport fan. He was telling me earlier about the last time he watched basketball, it was Larry Bird, and I don't even think he was alive back then. It was a story about Larry Bird. So he's like, who are these Spurs you're talking about? And you realize there are some of those people on this planet. And no surprise, they're engineers. Just saying. Come hang out with us here at the Roo Pub, 281 and Redland Road as we get ready for the game tonight. It's also a Mellow Monday. We do have that $50 gift card to Mellow Mushroom that we will give away at some point before 6 o'clock tonight. Boy, there's fly catching tips here on YouTube. And Marcia Grace says you have to get it from behind. They fly backwards first when taking off. See, now, I mean, I get, again, just tips from a country music superstar who probably has done enough shows outside where flies are annoying as hell, and you learn different tricks on how to get rid of them. And she's a way better guitar player than you. Halen's not a sports fan, but he is a guitar fan. But, you know, it comes with the territory. Part of it. So if you're watching on YouTube and you see the distractions, apologize in advance. Right now, let's do the Headline Blitz.
This is Jason and Joe's Headline Blitz. Brought to you by Novu Brazil Brewery in North Star Mall. Two guys, two opinions, never enough time.
We will get back into Spurs talk coming up. Right now, though. Let's do the Headline Blitz, where, you know, we always have some sort of random odd stories, although with everything going on, more finals, stuff that would normally be full topics. And let's start with the Texas Tech quarterback. Sorsby wins his temporary injunction. So it's college athletics. It's today. You know, the NCAA makes a ruling. You get a lawyer. You find a judge. If that judge doesn't tell you what you want, you appeal that, find another judge until the judge tells you what you want. That's what's happened right now in this Sorsby situation. Now, it's temporary. The NCAA is expected to appeal. But as it sits today at 3:07 in the afternoon on June 8th, Sorsby's eligibility is back for the 2026 season. Now, part of the deal is he's going to be suspended for the first two games of the year. Don't worry. Safe bet, pun intended, that Texas Tech isn't worried about not having him when they play Abilene Christian or Oregon State. We'll see what the judge ends up saying. This one really does surprise me, although there are no rules in college athletics anymore and nothing seems to matter. But and I get a feeling that Joey McGuire must have known this, because when we had the Texas Tech head coach on the Blitz last week ahead of his appearance at the San Antonio Quarterback Club, he didn't seem overly concerned, even though he said he didn't know anything. He said that they were pretty comfortable. And I guess when you've got enough money behind somebody to go find a judge that will tell you what you want, there's nothing to worry about. But this guy made so many bets while at Indiana, betting on Indiana, that you thought if there was anything, the one thing that you know you can't do is gamble and gamble on your sport. I thought that would be the one that you might see losing. You want to know that your eligibility? Fine. You're going to find a judge that will give you that. You want to transfer from one school to another? Fine. You're going to find a judge that will tell you that. But gambling, that cardinal sin, I thought would be the one area where a judge would be like, nah, dude, you screwed up. I can't let you play this year. And he would have entered the supplemental draft, which is in a couple of weeks. But nope, it's 2026 in college athletics. They found a judge. And, so he's got to miss the first two games of the series. And there's some other things that he's going to have to do. But in reality, he gets to play, and his punishment is you don't get to play against Abilene Christian or Oregon State. It's college football in 2026. Sarasota County is, of course, a Florida story. Guy walks into Walmart in Venice, Florida. And all the reports, they heard a popping sound, and then they found a trail of blood near the bathroom area. So they checked the security tapes. After the police got there and searched the building, they couldn't find anybody with a gunshot wound, but they were able to review video, and a guy walks in, he's got his shorts on, and he's carrying a gun. It's holstered. nothing illegal there. Although on the video, they can see that he was adjusting his gun in the holster and shot himself in the, let's say, growing area. And he went into the bathroom, but I guess he realized that he probably couldn't get some paper towels and clean that up. And he left the store. They found this dude at the hospital. Still no word if there's going to be any charges on that, which I find kind of interesting. But I don't know if he broke any laws, if he's legally allowed to carry a gun. But most gun owners, especially if you're going to carry, gun safety is important. Be aware of yourself. But seems to me that's the last place you would want to shoot yourself, and then go into the Walmart bathroom to realize you need to call a doctor. But apparently he got himself to the hospital, didn't call the EMS or anything, but the police were obviously worried there for a while. It feels like a total Florida story. Sort of an NBA Finals deal. The Cleveland Cavaliers auctioned off the seat that Taylor Swift sat in during the Eastern Conference Finals. Game 3, she was there with Travis Kelce. They auctioned off the seat, or they're actually, it's the auction is still going on. Right now, it's over $5,000. They got another week to go. They're also auctioning off seats featuring Ben Stiller and Timothée Chalamet. Now, I'm trying to think. You're the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Knicks beat you. So you're going to, now Taylor Swift, she was there rooting for Cleveland because of Travis. But Ben Stiller and Timothée Chalamet, they were there supporting the Knicks. And you're auctioning off the seats that they sat in. That doesn't make sense to me. Like if the Spurs Foundation were to auction off the seat that Spike Lee was in or that Ben Stiller was in for games 1 or 2, would you even want that one? I mean, so-and-so's butt was here. And again, like Taylor Swift, I sort of get in the creepy kind of way that you're thinking. But if you're a Cavs fan and a famous Knicks fan was in the seat, why would you want that? Now, granted, doesn't mean that a Cavs fan is going to buy it, but it certainly feels desperate for the Cleveland Cavaliers to say, hey, we don't have a whole lot of famous people, but we've got a way to make some money here off of them, even though they kicked our ass. Here, let's see if we could sell the seats that they sat in. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Although, again, I get the Taylor Swift craze. But these others, I don't know. And then you think about the ticket prices for tonight's game. The New York Knicks auctioned off 2 tickets on their quote-unquote celebrity row. Went for $1 million. $1 million to sit courtside tonight on Celebrity Row. Now, obviously, a couple of rich people, according to the report, split the cost of that, and they're going to the game. Now, the Knicks don't sell those tickets, ever. They're reserved for celebrities. And you put in your request, and depending on the level of your celebrity is whether or not you get them or not. But for an auction, and I could see the Knicks, all right, cool. We got 2 tickets courtside, Celebrity Row. Let's raise some money for our charity. That makes sense. And according to the press release, it's the biggest single donation they've ever had. Makes sense to me. New York is going nuts right now with Game 3 and the Knicks up. I mean, they haven't been in the finals since the Spurs beat them in 1999. It's been 27 years. I get it. But $1 million. But for charity, you can see some of these companies that are willing to do that. And they have. They spent $1 million. The rest of those tickets that people are spending money on, yeah, we'll see. Although it does look like the market is crashing a little bit for those unsold tickets that they were asking for ridiculous numbers. They seem to be coming down to something a little bit more realistic. I wonder if that's just because, how many people can really afford that, even in a place like New York, plus the pain in the ass factor with the security measures that are in place because Donald Trump is going to the game tonight. Something certainly to keep an eye on as we continue here and get ready for the game. Speaking of, I do believe Jacob Tobey is already inside Madison Square Garden. We'll ask about the security and everything else when the voice of the San Antonio Spurs joins us at 3:35. Coming up, more of your phone calls as you get ready for Game 3 tonight. How you feeling? Tell me about it. 210-656-ESPN. 656-3776. More Spurs talk coming up here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The Morning Huddle.
I think you guys might be more adventurous to me. Because I don't think I have a thing that I'd be like embarrassed to talk about.
You got a thing.
I don't think so.
You know, yeah, I'm not.
Just because
I'm
you
not
don't think you
about
got
my
a thing.
doesn't mean you don't got a thing. But you got a thing. And your significant other knows that thing.
Vic likes to eat salsa out of his girl's belly button.
Whatever it is.
Vic's got weird things.
When your significant other finds out what your thing is, they know how to end the whole process right then.
Yeah. All right.
It's over.
Let's
You got 5 seconds. Ready? 5, 4, 3, done. Like when you get in the gas, count backwards from 100.
The Morning Huddle with AJ and Rob. Weekday mornings 6 to 10. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The Headline Blitz is brought to you by Novo Brewery, San Antonio's newest sports watching destination with over 80 feet of video walls, 60 craft beers, and hard kombucha on tap. A full bar and delicious menu. Novo Brewery is attached to North Star Mall and open late hours. San Antonio's playoff headquarters has arrived. Novo Brewery features 80 feet of video walls, craft beers, hard kombucha on tap, and the food menu that means business. Thick-cut ribeye, picanha prime sirloin, Brazilian empanadas, stacked burgers, carne asada fries, and more. And with its own private entrance separate from North Star Mall, no hassle, just you, your crew, and the biggest screens in the city at Novo Brewery. Open late. Visit novobrew.com. Novo Brewery. Come hungry. Stay for the game.
This World Cup season, there's only one place to experience every USA match with fellow fans, Social Spot in San Antonio. Join them for the ultimate World Cup watch parties featuring giant screens, delicious food, tasty snacks, ice-cold beer, and the electrifying atmosphere of soccer's biggest tournament. Bring your friends, wear your red, white, and blue, and cheer on Team USA every step of the way. Catch all the action at Social Spot, 930 Broadway. Social Spot and San Antonio Sports Star, your home for the 2026 World Cup watch parties. Don't miss a minute of the excitement.
Hi, everybody. Joe Reinigal here for Window Nation. You know, it is June. Summer is here along with those hot summer days, and that means constant AC use and high energy bills. It is time to upgrade your home's windows this month during Window Nation's Buy 4, Get 4 free sale. Imagine replacing all your windows with new energy-efficient ones and getting half of them for free. Plus, you could even get them with no money down and no monthly payment or interest for 2 years. Don't wait to put an end to your window problems. Sale ends soon, so visit windownation.com to book that consultation.
Whoa, okay. This one says you get a free phone if you switch. Hey, this one also says you get a free phone if you switch.
Yeah, they all do, hon.
The T-Mobile one says their customers had the lowest wireless bills versus the other big guys over the past 5 years. And their latest experience plans have Netflix included, plus a year of Dash Pass by DoorDash.
Hang on, let me see that. Oh, yeah, we're switching.
That's what I'm talking about. Do we clap now or...
At T-Mobile, get savings that keep stacking up. That's value you can feel every day. Switch now and keep your phone, and T-Mobile will pay it off up to $800.
Savings based on Harris X billing snapshot from Q3 2021 to Q4 2025 compared to average AT&T and Verizon bills. Comparison excludes discounts, credits, and optional charges up to $800 for new account qualifying unlike device credit service ported 90-plus days with device and eligible carrier and timely redemption required. Virtual MasterCard typically takes 15 days. No cash access and expires in 6 months. Card issued by Sunrise Banks N.A. member FDIC. Visit T-Mobile.com.
You like saving money, right? We all do. That's why Allstate just lowered the price of car insurance. Not, but wait, there's a catch. Lower. Actually lower. So if you're shopping around or just want to see how much you could save, check Allstate first for a new lower auto rate that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
You could win unmatched views of the match during the Twin Peaks Go for the Gold giveaway presented by Michelob Ultra and Casamigos. Visit TwinPeaksSoccer.com to enter for your chance to win by June 14th. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
The Spurs and the Knicks. This is where you come to talk about the finals. 94.1 San Antonio Sports.
You know, games 1 and 2 were winnable for the San Antonio Spurs. As the series shifts to New York for tonight's game 3, even though the Spurs are down 0-2, Are you confident? How you feeling about tonight's Game 3? It is the Blitz here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. I'm Jason Minix. Joe Reinagle is on vacation. Spurs TV voice Jacob Tobey will join us in about 15 minutes from right now to talk about tonight's Game 3. But how are you guys feeling right now? Just our poll question on YouTube is that, right? Your 3 options on YouTube. Just hope they won't get swept leads the way right now at 45%. Confident that they'll win the series is at 34%. Won't win, but will push it to at least 6 is at 21% right now. Plenty of time for you to go vote in the YouTube poll. sasportstar.com and click on through to YouTube. Or if you're on YouTube, just search out San Antonio Sports Star. You can also dial us up 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Easy to do. Make it competitive. Just don't get embarrassed. All right. And I think, can they still win this series? History says no. But the way they played at the end of Game 2, and if Wemby gets off to a great start tonight, it's possible. This team has proved everybody wrong throughout this postseason run. Maybe that will continue. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Albert, you're on the Blitz. What's going on, man?
Hey, how's it going? Great show. Real quick, big Luke Cornett fan. Didn't really know about him till he joined the Spurs and did some research. I honestly thought before we even made it to the playoff that he was going to be a secret weapon. Then I started to notice that he was a shooter. But that being said, I still feel like he could be a secret weapon if we can use him like Hardenstein had that floater on us. What are your thoughts?
If you're reaching to the Luke Cornett can be the savior, that's a stretch. Luke Cornett, and I like Luke Cornett. He's been great all year. But he hasn't been good in the Western Conference Finals, and he's not really good right now in the NBA Finals just from a pure matchup. In Luke Cornett's presence on the court, and he has made some plays, don't get me wrong, but his presence on the court is why Wemby is having to put in the minutes that he's putting in, because he's just been a liability. Team see Luke Cornett check into the game, and they know they've got a green light to get to the bucket, and they are using and abusing Luke Cornett when he's out there and Wemby is on the bench. I think that's a big part of why Mitch Johnson is having to play Wemby so many more minutes, which that might be something that the Spurs have to look at in the offseason. When they're downloading the way this season goes and they're looking at all the data, the minutes restrictions that Wemby was on, and again, the idea of limiting minutes in the regular season is so you have a full tank of gas when you get to the postseason. But I'm watching a Victor that looks like his gas tank light is on. He is about empty. Now, he found some energy. He found some reserves in the fourth quarter of Game 2. But he has started both Games 1 and 2 looking tired. And a big part of that is he's playing more minutes in the postseason than he's used to playing. His body is so well conditioned, but everything seems like it's so structured. When you think about your regular season routine. At this point of the game, you typically come out. This point, you come out. And now some of it was injury management early in the year. Remember when he was playing just over 20 minutes so he could be qualified for all the postseason awards? But playing about 40 minutes a game, it's taken its toll on him. And I think a big part of that, and we talked about this last week, it was either with Antonio Daniels or Malik Rose, one of the two, when they were on the Blitz last week, said, one of the things with Victor is he has to play both ends of the court at such a high level, where a lot of other players, you can kind of sneak them some rest on one end because either they're not involved defensively, hidden on somebody, or they're not really in the offensive pattern. Well, everything starts and ends with Victor on both ends of the floor. So, and then the physical part of what he's been having to deal with, there's a reason he's tired. So do they look at, and it's definitely an off-season question, do they look at how they manage his minutes? Because clearly his body right now is not built to go this deep into the playoffs because he doesn't look like the same guy. He looked tired at the start of Game 1. He looked tired at the start of Game 2. And then you look at what he did, or more importantly, what he didn't do in the first quarter of the game the other night. I mean, in the first quarter, he took 3 shots. I mean, you think about he took 4 shots total in the first half the other night. That's not going to get it done. And again, at the end of the game, he ended up with 21 shots. Somehow he found some energy in the second half, but they're not going to win a lot of games if Victor has only taken 4 shots in the first half. Again, he's got to be your go-to option when it comes to scoring. So I do think that's something that they will look at. Go back to the phones. Jason, you are on the Blitz. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, Jason? Love the name, first off, and the show as well.
Yourself. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I just want to make a comment. Friday night was definitely heartbreaking from the rebound to the turnover at Wemby, but I just want to say everyone should just be super proud of those boys. I know I am. Like you said earlier, they shouldn't even be here, but they are. They're growing. They're learning. And that second half, they could have easily gave up, lost by 20+, but they stuck with it. Eventually took the lead. Still lost, but, you got to love that grit. You got to love that. Just got to love that determination as well, that effort. So that's all I really got to say. And go Spurs, go.
I appreciate you, Jason. And again, I think he's right. Right now, in the moment, down 0-2, you have every right to be angry. You have every right to be upset. And if they don't win this series, you're going to be crushed. Nothing wrong with that. But I think when you sit back, when it's all said and done, and you look at what this team was able to do this year, it's been a hell of a season. Now, we have moved the goalposts many times on what we thought this season would be like as far as determining if this was a great season or not. I know Antonio Daniels used this line the other day, and I'm going to steal it. What you're seeing right now from the San Antonio Spurs, this is the worst they are going to be for the next several years, half a decade, 7-8 years, who knows? We know that they are going to get better and improve on this roster. When you look at Victor at his age, he's 22. Dylan Harper is 19. Steph Castle is young. All these guys are young. They say in the NBA, you hit your prime around 26, 27, 28. Those guys are nowhere near their prime. They're learning from this. That said, there's no guarantee that they get back next year. We expect them to, but there is no guarantee. But I do think when you come into this season and thinking the Spurs are going to be what? We all said just get into the playoffs, get a little of that real playoff experience. I believe it was Victor that said they want to actually qualify for this for the playoffs, not the play-in. So 6 was the goal for Victor. Yet they make it to the NBA Finals. Again, I think we all can. 2 things can be true at the same time. You can be proud of this incredible season and what they accomplished, and disappointed that it doesn't end with a championship if it doesn't end with a championship. Tom Guerrero on YouTube says, don't write them off yet, Jason. I'm not. I want to see how they play tonight. I think they can go get a win in Madison Square Garden. And a big reason why is kind of what the caller just said. They could have laid down easily. I mean, you saw Cleveland quit. When it got hard, Cleveland stopped playing. You saw the same thing with Philadelphia. You saw this Spurs team go on a big run and take a shot to win the game at the end. That's a team that didn't quit. And that is what I'm banking on tonight, that confidence carryover, that it seems like they finally figured something out in that fourth quarter. Things started to go their way. If they can somehow get that momentum to transfer tonight, and whatever you expect to be going on in the Garden in that crazy atmosphere, weather the early storm. But to me, it starts with Victor. He's got to dominate early. We'll get the thoughts of Spurs TV voice Jacob Tobey on just that as he joins us next here on The Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Nobody ever plans on getting arrested, but it does happen to a lot of people every day for all kinds of reasons. If you get arrested, you want to get out of jail fast. The best way to do that is by calling my good friend Albert and his great staff at AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747. Or you can start the bonding process online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else to get out of jail. And you don't want to be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you a PR bond, make sure you truly understand what all those conditions are before accepting it. Your best option for stress-free bail bonds is AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They offer payment plans, have a free shuttle service. They are discreet and confidential and open 24/7 with offices all over San Antonio and Texas, services nationwide. So if you're up in Dallas, down in Corpus, celebrating tonight after a Game 3 win, license number 149, call AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121, or go online at mybestbailbonds.com.
All right, step up. If you really know the Rangers, this is your game on Rangers Game Day. Make your call in the morning huddles, Ranger Double Dinger Payday. Pick the Ranger who takes one deep. He hits one, you're in. Ranger tickets. He hits two. Now we're talking tickets and a hotel stay. Big swings, big rewards. Wake up with the morning huddle and cash in with the morning huddles, Rangers Double Dinger Payday. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, South Texas home of the Texas Rangers.
This Father's Day, skip the boring gifts and make memories that actually matter at Coplay Cove. Join the Blitz of San Antonio Sports Star live at Coplay Cove for a family-focused Father's Day celebration built for dads, kids, and modern families. Enjoy Dad and Me indoor sports activities, coffee and energy drink tastings, giveaways, raffles, and nonstop family fun. All in a space designed for modern parents to connect, recharge, and enjoy quality time together. Built for families rooted in community. Get your tickets now through the events page at coplaycove.com.
'Twas the night before Father's Day, and all through the house, Dad slept in his recliner, completely passed out. Magellan Outdoors and Titleist win the night as Dad dreams of gifts from Academy, the kind he'd like. Because tomorrow's not just Father's Day, you see. It's Dad Christmas at Academy. Line up before the doors open on Saturday, June 13th to score a promo card worth up to $500. Academy Sports and Outdoors. Fun can't lose. Select Austin and San Antonio Academy stores. No purchase necessary. Open to Texas residents 18 or older. Visit academy.com/official rules.
Missions fans, get ready for AARP $2 Tuesdays at Wolf Stadium, presented by San Antonio Sports Star. Enjoy $2 tickets, beer, hot dogs, and more at every Tuesday home game. First pitch at 7:05. Don't miss out. Get your tickets now at samissions.com.
You bought an RV, and you got an automatic discount from Progressive by bundling it with your home or auto insurance. That's great, but a serious word of warning every RVer should heed. You don't need to talk about things like dry weight or dump stations. And you don't need one of those expensive water filter straws either. Because the most extreme thing most RVers encounter is a campsite without hookups. So just enjoy yourself. And Progressive's automatic discount when you bundle your RV, boat, or motorcycle with your home or auto insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. Attention taxpayers. If you or your business owe the IRS back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, the IRS has greenlighted billions of dollars in tax relief to those facing financial hardship through its tax relief initiatives. If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at Tax Pro USA to see if you qualify by dialing 800-444-9112. If you or your business owe at least $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS or state, you can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Call Tax Pro USA to get your free tax assessment to see what you qualify for by dialing 800-444-9112. 800-444-9112. That's 800-444-9112.
Joe Reinagle on vacation. I'm Jason Minix, live at the Roo Pub, 281 and Redland Road. Edwin Jacob says, try him again. So we're trying to connect with Jacob Tobey, the TV voice of the San Antonio Spurs, who I believe is already inside Madison Square Garden and done with that. But Edwin's calling him, and he's getting voicemail, and I'm texting him, and he's saying, try again. So we'll see what happens. Edwin, let me know when you get Jacob Tobey, because, well, it'd be fun to talk with him. He's also got a gig coming up in a couple of days over at Sam's Burger Joint. So we'll see what's going on there. Edwin? Got him? Don't have him? Where are we at, Edwin? All right. All right. Well, let me know when he's ready to go, and we'll go from there. In the meantime, our poll on our YouTube page, which you can get through sasportstar.com, is pretty simple. How you feeling? Confident we'll win the series is at 36%. Just hope they won't get swept at 46%. Won't win it all, but we'll push it to at least 6 right now, 18%. You guys can go vote in the poll on our YouTube page on how you're feeling about this Spurs team heading into tonight's game at 3. And let's head to New York. Jacob Tobey, the Spurs TV voice, joining us now on the Buyers Barricades guest line. Jacob, before we get into everything, are you already inside the Garden and all this security that we're hearing about? What was that like?
No, I'm not there yet. I am going to be walking to the bus to get on soon. Since we're with the team, it shouldn't be as crazy as if you're kind of just an outside media person or a fan going to the game tonight. But yeah, there's like a fence around all the arena, where at least in the back where you go in for the media entrance, and Secret Service has kind of taken over the whole security thing, and so they're just extra careful and cautious. And I'm bringing literally my iPad and my credential and headphones, and that's it. I'm going to try and not bring a bag if I can. So
yeah,
because it stalls and takes time. So it's pretty crazy. Yeah.
I can imagine. And just seeing some of the video, I thought the media was crazy in San Antonio, but it looked like it quadrupled there for a shoot around yesterday in New York.
Yeah, no, New York's big, fellas. We know that. So they just, all the media attention, and it being a rematch in '99, and the Knicks on fire right now. Like it's just a perfect storm. And then our fearless leader, the president, is going to be there. So that's going to add an extra thing to it, and then it's going to be very interesting to watch.
Now, Jacob, as you travel with the team, unlike other media, you are with the team. You're going to get on the bus with the team to go over to the Garden. Yep. And again, just the mood of this team from the videos that I saw coming from shoot around seem like they're the normal loose group. They're not distraught being down in this 0-2 hole. How would you describe the overall mood of this team?
Yeah, I think it's high. I think they're young. They've been saying all season long, all playoffs long, the experience, the lack of experience doesn't matter. They don't know what they don't know. So they also don't know that being down 0-2 might seem a little bit more intimidating than normal, but why not them? There's only been 5 teams to ever come back from an 0-2 deficit in the NBA Finals. Why can't they be the 6th? They're young. They're athletic. They've had 2 days of rest. I know Saturday was a travel day coming to New York, but they should be well rested. The energy should be high. And, there's a lot of pressure, I think, on the Knicks to come out and play well against their home crowd, right? I mean, this crowd has been dying for this and been waiting for this for so long. And so I wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks are a little uptight to start. First couple shots don't go down, and the Spurs jump on them. The Spurs have been great at starting games. That hasn't been the problem all playoffs long, and it's been finishing. So if they come in here and deliver that first blow like they did in Oklahoma City in Game 7, I mean, that's a lot of pressure. Game 7 to go to the NBA Finals, and you deliver the first blow to the defending champs. That's about as much pressure as you could face other than this scenario. So they just keep going up the ladder, and I expect them to fight back tonight.
Jacob Tobey joining us here on the Blitz Spurs TV play-by-play man. And it's interesting because you asked the pressure question. I was going to, down 0-2, there is pressure on this Spurs team, but as nuts as New York has been, and with them coming home with this 2-0 lead and ticket prices what they are, I think all the pressure really is on the Knicks. Can the Spurs, and it's not get off to a fast start, we've seen that, Can Victor get off to a fast start? How do you explain his slow starts in games 1 and 2?
Yeah, I just think the positioning on the floor, the Spurs. I was doing another interview earlier, and I said this, and I'll say it again. People think that Victor, and if they haven't seen him a lot or whatever, like was like Shaq in terms of like you dump it down to the post and he backs you down 3 or 4 dribbles and then turns around and scores. Like that's never how Victor has played. He gets positioning down low on quick movements, quick cuts, quick passes, alley-oops from Castle and Fox, fast break alley-oops on the run. Like the Spurs need to do a better job of running fast break opportunities and getting him more involved. And for sure, was he tired after game 1 of Oklahoma City? Yes. Did that affect games 2 and 3? Yes. Has it been a grueling season? Yes. I do still feel like the Thunder were more physical on him than the Knicks have been. I mean, let's just be honest, right? I mean, Hartenstein was going crazy at him all series long. I was just watching them battle. I wasn't even watching the ball. I was just watching them battle, and it was crazy. So the Knicks are letting them shoot jumpers, and Victor has played into it a little bit. But if he goes down there and dunks a couple times early in this game, that'll change the entire thing. If he gets a couple lobs in the break, that'll change the entire thing. So it's not so much dump it down low on the block and watch him, hold the ball for 10 seconds and try to make moves. That's never really what's worked. But if he starts down low and then goes outside, that's how we've seen him have great games all season long. He's had a big game in Madison Square Garden before on Christmas Day last year, 40-plus points, and I expect a big one tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Jacob Tobey here on the Blitz on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. I do think him getting off to a fast start because he has appeared tired. Hopefully these 2 days help, but also Karl Anthony Towns might be playing some of the best basketball of his NBA career.
Yeah, he's the Finals MVP right now. I know it's only 2 games, but he's played great. He's not been scared. He's reminding us that we once all thought he was the best big man in the league. At least is one of the 2 or 3 best big men when he was in Minnesota, and he's played well. But I think Victor's a better player than him, and he can show that tonight. But Cat showing that he's not scared, dunking on him, showing up on both ends of the floor. He's done a great job, but at the same time, Victor has more talent, more ability, more size, maybe not more strength, but more shooting touch, maybe in my opinion. So it's been fun to watch. Cat's lived up to the challenge. He's not let somebody else guard him. He's been on him most of the time, and vice versa, right? I mean, Victor's been on Cat a lot. He's roamed a little bit. Like they've done a little bit of the Josh Hart defense, but not too much of it. Not as much as maybe people would think. So yeah, it's been a great series for Cat, and it'll be interesting to see what he does tonight because he's from New York and he's pumped and ready to go.
Well, and a couple of New Yorkers on the Spurs roster when you think about Dylan Harper, who's been fantastic, and Julian Champagnie, although I would like to see him make a bucket or 2 in the second half, which he didn't do in games 1 or 2, but for both of those guys going home, and you think about the old saying, role players don't play as well on the road. But I think the Spurs team has kind of taken that theory and said, no, not really, especially when you look at what they did in getting a couple of road wins at Oklahoma City, which I think for Spurs fans, if you're looking for hope, you look at, they won a game 7 on the road. They won a game 1 on the road when people didn't give them a chance. They can go into the Garden tonight and get a win and turn this into a series.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We saw Julian, hit 6 threes in Oklahoma City game 7, best game ever he's played as a pro in the biggest moment. Obviously, he's hit more threes in a game. That was against New York on New Year's Eve, the 11 threes, but just the importance of game 7 in Oklahoma City. We saw him step up. Dylan Harper, did not play down the stretch in game 1. Mitch Johnson corrected that, played him down the stretch in game 2. And I expect Dylan to play a lot tonight as well. I mean, he's uber talented. Like you mentioned, New Jersey kid back, in this side of town. Like that's a big thing for him. Champagnie obviously has the St. John's connection. His former head coach is going to be in the crowd tonight along with some family members. So, yeah, role players playing well on the road. It depends on who you get and where you are, but I wouldn't be surprised if those guys have big games tonight. But I point to a guy like Keldon Johnson, Jason, who has not had the best playoff series. He would tell you that. He'd be the first to tell you that. He's only scored over 15 points twice in the playoffs. During the regular season, he did it 30 times. The Spurs were 24-6. So when KJ plays well, the Spurs win. And they need his energy. They need his presence down low. They need somebody to give Victor a rest. And I know he's not coming in for Victor, but if he plays well and can spell some of those minutes, it's a smaller lineup with KJ out there, but we've seen Luke Cornett obviously, struggle at times and then come up with that big block in Oklahoma City. So there's been good and bad numbers on him, but a guy like Keldon just hasn't gotten going much. This is a perfect game for him to really show the world that, I was a sixth man of the year. I've struggled in the playoffs, but I can come up in a big moment.
One of the things, while he has struggled, Jacob, that I appreciate with Keldon is he seems to have that same demeanor, which he's had since he's been here, and you appreciate that. And then I heard Victor talking about De'Aaron Fox being that calming presence, and veteran guy, and De'Aaron, who struggled in game one but had a solid game two. But I expect a veteran guy like De'Aaron Fox to also play consistent and be well tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. They need everybody, Jason. They literally need everybody. It's all hands on deck. It starts with the big fella, but they need to just play the game smart. Don't make those mistakes down the stretch. Now, again, I heard Sean, my partner, say this this morning. That was a big mistake, the pass from Victor to Castle off his head, but that wasn't the only reason they lost the game. I mean, there were missed opportunities on both ends of the floor. And that's how the Spurs have operated over the years, as you know better than anybody. They don't figure and face on one specific issue, on one specific point in the game. They take the whole game and look at it. So all the guys got to step up tonight. It's going to take a team effort. The crowd's going to be insanity, but I expect a great game tonight. A really, really, really great game.
Jacob Tobey joining us here on the Blitz on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. While there is no local TV broadcast, obviously, for the finals and none for the playoffs this year, which sucks. But, that's the NBA and their rules. You've been doing these great post-game shows. And I'm curious because I didn't see the end of the one for game two, to be honest. What you were thinking you were going to be talking about during that run and ultimately what it was. What was just the kind of general reaction and vibe from those around you in the truck? Because this is going to lead to another question in a moment since you brought up Sean.
Yeah, no, I thought it was going to be an amazing, a run and a comeback and a 14-0 run. And I thought I was going to, just be going crazy with Spurs fans in the background. It just, it didn't happen that way. But that's why we love sports, is because it can rip your heart out. It can make you the happiest you've ever been. And we've had a lot of fun doing the post-game show. I still love being on the road with the team, being around it. It's been fantastic. I've really, really enjoyed being with the Spurs these first 2 years. I feel like I've got the best job in the world at the right time, and just to be involved still during the playoff run has been awesome.
Well, you best job in the world at the right time is an understatement. That's all caps and Sharpie and underlined like 3 times. But I would imagine the group that you travel with, and I know a lot of them, are kind of like my friends. We see that pass, and we started ranking where that is in Spurs misery plays. The Manu foul on Dirk, Derek Fisher's 0.4, obviously the Ray Allen shot. I know Sean well enough that has to have come up. Where does that one rank as it sits right now, knowing the series is not over?
Yeah, I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. I don't want to put too much of a thing on it right now. I think let the playoffs let it finish first, and then we can rank it right. But Victor's the first guy to tell you again that he messed up, and it was going to fuel him for this game. That's why I think he's going to have such a great game tonight.
Well, and Jacob, when you think about what you said about the right job 2 years ago, you have done such a great job of embracing the San Antonio community, and they're embracing you. It's as we talked when you first got the gig. You're replacing a guy like Bill Lamb. That's tough to do, and you have done it extremely well. And a lot of people listening right now, fans of your work on television on the Spurs broadcast, but also following your music career. You've got a gig coming up Thursday night. So you get back, 4 or 5 in the morning, whenever the plane's going to land. I'm not sure if the travel during the finals is different than the regular season, but Thursday night, you and Bill Schoening, you guys have a gig at Sam's Burger Joint, which is freaking awesome.
We do, yeah. So I'll get back to San Antonio. We're not traveling on the team plane. They have a lot more staff that's there, so we're traveling commercially. But I'll be back in the morning at like 11, and then get ready. Yeah. So I sing and play guitar, man. I've been doing it since I was really young. I love music. I thought I was going to do this for a career until I got into broadcasting more, and I'm still trying to pursue it on the side. And I play a lot of local music gigs. I sing, I play guitar. That's why Bill Schoening and I connected so well, is because he does, the same thing and writes music. And I've written a lot of music over the last couple of years, and I'm starting to get to a point where I want to showcase my original stuff and record it this summer. And so Bill invited me to open up for his band at Sam's Burger Joint on Thursday. So I'm going to go on the stage at 6:30 and play about 45 minutes and my original songs and see if people like them or not. And then I might hop on the stage once with Bill's band and sing a song that we wrote about being on the road with the Spurs last year. So it should be a really fun time. You can get tickets Sam's Burger Joint on their website, and I can't wait for it. It's going to be awesome.
Sam'sBurgerJoint.com is the website. It's great. And I knowing Bill and his music, it's fun. And when you're talking music with stuff, so for people that aren't familiar with your original writing, because what I've seen you do has been a lot of covers. What is your original music like? What kind of style or genre would you say you are?
Yeah, it's like pop acoustic. I have kind of a country twang to my voice. Sometimes that comes out as well, but it's like soft acoustic stuff. I write a lot about where I'm from, back in Massachusetts, Cape Cod, being on the beach with my family. I've written a couple songs about some of my other family members, and just my story of making my dream come true, in the NBA, and letting people know that anything you want to do is possible. And I got here, so why can't you get to wherever you want to go? And so hopefully some of that comes through in the gig whenever I play, whether it's Thursday or another time later this summer. I try to post all that stuff on my Instagram, and so I'm really excited for it.
Well, I'm a sports guy and spend an irresponsible amount of money on concert tickets. So I'm down with what you're doing, but I can't play an instrument to save my life. But I like going watching people that do. So have fun in New York and have a great time on Thursday at Sam's Burger Joint. Before I let you go, Jacob, kind of the mood, the schedule, because I thought you might already be there. I know it's almost 5 o'clock there in the East. When does the bus leave? When will the team arrive and the chaos really hit for you guys?
There's 3 buses, so one's already left. We're getting on the second one coming up here in about 20 minutes, and then the third one will arrive. So kind of a staggered presence at the arena. So should be fun.
In the craziness outside the hotel, do you hear the fans inside your room? Are the guys able to get some sleep and rest, or is it just chaotic?
I'm not sure. We are actually at a secondary hotel, so it's down the street. I've seen the lines. I've seen all that stuff. So when NBA teams travel and get further in the playoffs, they need more rooms and hotels and all that stuff. So there's a couple of different locations here. But I wore my Spurs shirt around town today and got some booze and some FUs, but all good, man. It comes with the territory.
If you didn't get the FUs, you wouldn't be in New York. You're right. That goes with the territory.
I'm from Boston, so we give it. We grew up doing that to them, so it's all good.
Good stuff, Jacob. Man, enjoy New York. Let's see the Spurs get a win tonight and turn this into a series. Appreciate you doing this afternoon.
Thank you, my man. Appreciate it. See ya.
Appreciate it. Jacob Tobey, the Spurs TV play-by-play man, also a musician. Bill Schoening. And if you followed Bill throughout his career, he's the same way. And the fact that they're both going to be playing that gig at Thursday night at Sam's Burger Joint is really, really cool. And yes, Bill Schoening will be on Wednesday. He's got a couple of things going on. But I'm a big fan of Sam's Burger Joint and a big fan of both of those guys. So promote the hell out of that. And Thursday night, you got nothing else to do. I mean, honestly, like last night, no hockey and no basketball. And I was trying to figure out, what am I watching? There was nothing on to watch. I wasn't watching, what was it, Tony Awards that were on? I'm not watching that. It's ended up watching the Longhorns beat Oregon. And that game took forever, but the Longhorns off to the College World Series after they swept the Oregon Ducks. Because, College Baseball World Series is going on, which is kind of taking a back seat around here because, well, the Spurs are in the NBA Finals. But Yeah, it's one of those. So Thursday night, man, head over to Sam's Burger Joint, watch some live music, and talk some Spurs basketball. Let's talk some Spurs basketball coming up. How you feeling about Game 3? 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. More from the Roo Pub coming up here on the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Riding home with the Blitz. Afternoons 2 to 6. KTFM Floresville. And everywhere at sasportstar.com.
I've got great news for you. DraftKings Sports is now live in all 50 states. And yes, that means us right here in Texas. The whole world is watching one tournament right now. It is group stage chaos, knockout drama, stoppage time heartbreak. All the excitement right in the palm of your hands because DraftKings Sports is now live in Texas. The biggest stage right in the palm of your hands. New DraftKings customers sign up with code 941SportsStar. Spend $5 to get $200 in total rewards. That's code 941SportsStar. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click to claim. Issued in non-withdrawable prediction dollars that expire in 1 year. Ends June 28th. Terms dkng.co/predictions promo.
Watch every Team USA World Cup match at Social Spot. Enjoy great screens, great food, snacks, ice cold beer, and the best World Cup atmosphere in San Antonio. Join the party at 930 Broadway. Social Spot in San Antonio Sports Star, your headquarters for the 2026 World Cup watch parties.
There's only one Ozempic. Hello, I'm Ozempic, and I'm other GLP-1s, kind of like him. Ozempic, you redid your jingle?
Thanks for noticing. Catchy, right?
No.
Okay, then. Well, ask your doctor about which FDA-approved uses of me, the Ozempic pen, may be right for you. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and learn more about Ozempic semaglutide injection, 2 milligrams. Only Novo Nordisk makes FDA-approved Ozempic.
There's only one Ozempic.
I told you it was catchy.
Hey guys, it's AJ, and between us, when you hit a certain age, things start to feel a little bit off. You're tired all the time, your energy's low, and maybe your drive isn't what it used to be. A lot of that can come down to low testosterone. That's why I want you to give a call to Game Day Men's Health, Alamo Ranch on Wiseman Boulevard. They understand what guys are dealing with, and they make the process so easy. The office has a relaxed man cave vibe. Everything starts with a free testosterone test done right there in their in-house lab. After that, you'll meet with a licensed provider to create a custom treatment plan designed for you. And here's the best part. You can start treatment the same day. After a month, you'll be noticing more energy, a better mood, and a boost in your libido. Don't settle. Be the best version of yourself. After a month, you can notice more energy, a better mood, and a boost in your libido. Give them a call, 830-376-9100. 830-376-9100. 830-376-9100 for Game Day Men's Health, Alamo Ranch.
We have meaningful basketball being played in San Antonio for the first time in years, and you know the Roo Pub has proven to be the best place to go watch the games with those 3 massive 170-inch screens and TVs all around. All the games, all the fights, and when you show up at the Roo Pub, show up hungry. Open daily at 11. Great for lunch, great for dinner, great for late at night, and the best place to watch the game. Just down from the big blind, right next to the Angry Elephant. The Roo Pub, 281 in Redland Road. We'll see you at the Roo.
This Father's Day, put the focus on Dad's happy place, his garage. Shop more ways to organize, more ways to build, and more ways to spend time together. With low prices guaranteed at the Home Depot. Get him a rolling toolbox or a wall-mounted organizer to keep it all in place. Or save on power tools like the Ryobi 2-tool driver drill combo kit for just $99. Make Father's Day about building something together with a little help from the Home Depot. Exclusions apply. See HomeDepot.com/price match for details.
December 7th, 1941. The nation didn't check a screen. They gathered around the radio. Breaking news, urgent, real, immediate. In one moment, radio connected an entire country. Through war, through peace, through history. Radio has always been there. 250 years of America. And the sound that carried every moment.
San Antonio's Sports Center.
The NBA Finals has shifted to the Big Apple in New York City as the San Antonio Spurs look to rebound and get their first win of the series. after dropping a heartbreaker on Friday night to go down 0-2 in the series. Tonight's Game 3 marks the first NBA Finals game at Madison Square Garden since 1999. Tip-off is set for 7:30. You can watch the game on ABC. And in the college football world, Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby has been granted a temporary injunction against the NCAA that could clear him to play for the Red Raiders in 2026, even after the Cincinnati transfer quarterback was declared ineligible for wagering in college sports. I'm Edwin Hafner for 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Sports Center is brought to you by Buyers Barricades, the Texas authority in barricade rental. BuyersBarricades.com.
From the studios of San Antonio Sports Star, reaching more sports fans than any station in South Texas. Welcome to the Blitz. 2 decades on the radio, Jason Minix. 2 decades on TV, Joe Reinagle. 2 San Antonio sports voices you've trusted for years. This is the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Couple hours away, about 3 hours, 42 minutes or so until tip-off of Game 3 tonight. It is the Blitz here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. Joe Reinagle on vacation. I'm Jason Minix, holding it down, getting ready for tonight's big Game 3 live at the Roo Pub, 281 and Redland Road. You know there's no better place to come watch tonight's game. And look, Friday night, made it over here to the Roo after leaving the arena, and it was somber, obviously, and it got wild in the fourth quarter. Spurs are down 0-2. Your confidence level as the series shifts to New York. That's what I want to know today as you get ready for this game. I don't think many of us thought the Spurs would be in this position. Yeah, they lose game 1. They blew that big lead, and Jalen Brunson went crazy in the fourth quarter. Spurs were very confident. Spurs fans were very confident that they would even the series at 1, and tonight's Game 3 would be, holy crap, this series is tied 1-1. Because they're down 0-2, my friends, some that are texting, some that I've seen over the weekend, just random people wherever, that, I mean, it's weird the confidence level of Spurs fans. Some have already mailed it in. It's over. Others confident that this team that won 2 road games against Oklahoma City, including a Game 7, can get tonight's game and turn this into a series. How are you guys feeling? 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776 on our poll question on YouTube, which you can get to through sasportstar.com. How you feeling? Just hope they won't get swept is at 49%. 34% say confident the Spurs will still win this series. 17% won't win it all, but will push it to at least 6. That's at 17%. I get it. I think a lot of you just don't get swept. Get one, a gentleman's sweep, something. Just don't get swept. Seems to be right now that's 49%, but I've heard that from a lot of fans that you lost game 2 and you feel like they lost the series with it. That shot, that turnover, and then the missed game-winning opportunity, I think have a lot of Spurs fans dejected over the weekend. Can they get through at this point and go from there? I know Marcus has been on hold for like 40 minutes. I was about to go to you, and Edwin just said that you hung up, man. I pushed you to the limits, and then right when I'm going to you, you turn the ball over like Wemby did. Not ready for the moment. I get it. No, I'm kidding. Marcus, call back. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. It's interesting when you look at what we saw in games 1 and 2. And I see Claymore on our YouTube right now. Frostbank Center got drowned up by Knicks fans after the first quarter. The idea of a building takeover like that in San Antonio, I have not seen. And certainly not in a finals game. Certainly not in a playoff game. That kind of felt like some of those regular season Laker games when Kobe was around, and you felt like there were a lot more Laker fans. It was loud. I don't know what the percentages were if you were there and experienced that, but man, there were Knicks fans everywhere. And again, we've all heard these. I don't know if it's true or not, or just theory, but we've heard that it was cheaper for Knicks fans to buy tickets in San Antonio, fly to San Antonio, get a hotel in San Antonio, than it would be to go to a game at Madison Square Garden. Now, whether that's true or not, I have no idea, but it seems like it based on all the pricing that we've seen. Are there that many Knicks fans that just live in a drivable distance? I know there's a lot of T-shirt Laker fans, but I don't know that are there that many T-shirt Knicks fans in South Texas. And hard to know that for sure because the Knicks haven't been good. They haven't been in the finals in 27 years. So is there reason to see them coming out of the woodworks like this? I know that, I do have some friends that are military related from New York. They are Knicks fans, and they've been letting me hear about it. But they've only been in Texas for a short time. Military, they've been traveling all over the world. He's still active duty Army. So, and he even said, I looked at ticket prices and said, I'll watch on TV. What time do I show up at the Roo Pub? And I said, well, you're a Knicks fan. You're not welcome at my table. It's Spurs fans only. But there is seemingly a lot of that. And so I am curious from the Knicks fan takeover, if you were there, what was it like in your section? They had the media seats. We were up in the fan zone. And those to our right, which would have been behind the Knicks bench, on the second level, it looked like there was a whole section of orange and blue. I have not seen that in San Antonio before. That kind of a takeover, especially in the finals. And, of course, they win, they're going to be louder. That's just the way it is. Although I didn't see anything overly crazy or disrespectful from Spurs fans or Knicks fans. But, I see on YouTube, downtown was packed with Knicks fans after the game. Well, sure, if they were coming into town and staying on the Riverwalk, they're going to go party on the Riverwalk and celebrate being up 2-0. Because I don't even think Knicks fans thought they would be up 2-0 in this series. I know the Knicks had that long winning streak coming into the finals, which they have extended. Not every game now by double digits because, they only won the game by one the other day, a game in which the Spurs missed 8 free throws. So many ways for Spurs fans to beat themselves up over what the team didn't do in game 2. I mean, they had the 12-point lead early. I turned to Rob Thompson, who was sitting next to me, and I was like, let's see if they can extend this lead. And just it felt like seconds there. It was down to 7 and then down to 5 because the Spurs went ice cold in the second quarter. They shot 19% in the second quarter. And then it felt like all hope was lost and they were going to get run out of the building, but they didn't quit like Cleveland did. They rallied. And that fourth quarter, the Knicks fans weren't quite as loud as the Spurs were making the run, right? And they had the opportunity. And, of course, final 30 seconds, the missed shot, the turnover, then the missed game winner. It was ugly at that point. So tonight, we'll see if they can turn it into a series. 5 times it's happened when a team has lost the first 2 games. That's not a high percentage. Not a high percentage at all. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Hey, Bubba, you're on the Blitz. What's going on, man?
No, I saw you at game 2, you and Rob Thompson. Thanks for talking to me for a bit. And
absolutely.
I went to game 1. I say it was about. I thought it was about 5,000 Knicks fans. This one, I say it was 50-50. I was shocked because we were sitting in the fan zone, and it was just a sea of blue just coming in everywhere. So, and then the section next to us, I was in 218, right below the Chinese broadcast team or the Brazilian media people, and the fans were screaming so loud in the section right above or next to 218 above the ushers. And I was just shocked that our own ushers, during the 14-0 run, I was yelling like Tom Brady, let's F and go. And they wanted to throw me out. And I was like, come on. So I had to watch my mouth the rest of the game. But, yeah, I was shocked with the fans, and I just hope if we, God willing, make it to a Game 5, they don't show up again, and I hope they get the same feeling we had walking out of that building tonight. I hope they got the walk of shame walking out of Madison Square Garden back to their hotels, wherever they're going, and Game 2 also. I hope, and they paid quadruple the time of what we paid, so I hope they get the same feeling. That's all I got to hope for tonight. Jason, thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely, Bubba. Appreciate you. Appreciate you saying hi at the game the other night. Let's go to Roland. You're on the Blitz. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, Jason? Yeah, I was at Game 1, and I had 10 Knicks fans right next to me. I had a group of 6 guys, and it was true. They were there, young guys, they're about 30s. They got tickets, flew into Austin, drove from Austin because it was cheaper, Austin to San Antonio for the game, and went back. And a couple in front of me also said, when I spent $600-700 on this ticket, it would have been close to $4,000 for the same exact ticket in the Garden. So yeah, that they weren't lying. They were there, and they were able to get a hotel and everything for a fraction of what it was for New York. But the guys next to me, introduced myself, and we were just cordial about everything. We razzed each other at the end of the game. We shook hands, said, hope it has a good series, and good luck to y'all. I wished them good luck, and it was just civilized.
That's good to hear. I mean, because again, I didn't see any videos of any craziness after Game 2, and I personally didn't experience anything that was, I don't know, the stuff that would be embarrassing for the city. The only thing that I thought was a little embarrassing was the Knicks fans taking over the building. That said, man, I can't blame a Spurs fan if they were able to get that kind of money for selling their tickets. I mean, it's a crazy amount of money, and I don't know. Roland, appreciate the phone call. Now I know there's only so many dollars you can spend. I think was it Josh Hart yesterday that said the price that they're going for at Madison Square Garden is crazy. But what it does is it prices out the regular fan. The fan that's been waiting 27 years that doesn't have that kind of money. They would have come up with $600, $700, $800, $900, something like that. But they're not coming up with $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 a ticket. I get that. Now, granted, if I had that kind of money and lived in New York, you would pay whatever for the Garden experience. But also, I'm also wondering if you're a Knicks fan, not that the Garden experience is worn off, and there's nothing like experiencing the NBA Finals, especially if you're a Knicks fan in the Garden. But at what price? You just want to see your team in the finals. I'll fly to San Antonio, or in this case, what Roland was saying, fly to Austin and rent a car and drive down, and you could do all of that cheaper than one ticket. It's insane, but it is unfortunate for the average fan that scrapes up whatever to be able to go to however many games that they can go to. I mean, that part does suck. I do wonder, and how do I say this politically correct? I kind of hope that the craziness that we expect to see in the Garden tonight isn't quite as crazy, because you got nothing but a bunch of rich people there, and rich people that spent crazy money on upper deck tickets, and they're not used to being in the upper deck, and that affects the vibe of the crowd. Because the crazy fans that you would normally expect to see at the Garden, have they been priced out of it? I am curious to see the electricity of what the Garden is like tonight, but I do wonder if it will have a Super Bowl effect on it, if you will. You think about the Super Bowl, so much of that is corporate seating, and those tickets are so expensive. You've got a couple of sections where fans are able to go, but for the most part, the Super Bowl isn't like going to a home game at. And I'm curious if you'll see a little bit more of a corporate feel tonight for the game, because to spend that kind of money, if somebody is spending, 10, 12, 15,000 for a pair of tickets, that's different. And they got to go early. I mean, because the president is there, all the security, typically people like that, if they go early, they're going into those fancy clubs that most of us can't get into. And, you ever notice in San Antonio early in the game, those seats are empty? Well, it's because those people are still having dinner, in the restaurant down there that has cloth napkins and a fork and knife at a stadium. I'm curious if the ticket prices have gotten so high that actually affects the atmosphere that they're expecting tonight at the Garden. Although I can only imagine what the Garden would be like anyway. And if you could afford it, that's the experience. But those fans flew to San Antonio or Austin, and they watched their team win 2 games. I don't know. What do you think needs to happen tonight for the Spurs to get one in New York? And again, if they get tonight, this series is very different than if they lose tonight, then I think we all know it's all but over. So while by definition it ain't a must-win, somewhere Joe Reinagle's head is exploding. Tonight is a must-win game for the San Antonio Spurs. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. We'll take your phone calls as we continue here on The Blitz on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. First, though, let me tell you about Quartermoon Plumbing, Heating, and AC. Their phone number is easy, 210-651-5899, 651-5899. Online, quartermoonplumbing.com. If you're having issues, they are great. If you just need maintenance, they are great. And they've also come up with something at Quartermoon that is needed in San Antonio. They're calling it the Breathe Easy Package. So if your house smells a little bit off, might be your AC unit. So call Quartermoon and ask them about that Breathe Easy package, where they are going to deep clean your blower motor, blower wheel, and AC housing. They'll clean the coil, disinfect the inside of your AC cabinet, then install a UV light that's going to zap bacteria and other stuff that's hiding in your unit. You're going to get cleaner air, a fresher home, and everything is going to smell like it's supposed to. So if your house is smelling a little off, call Quartermoon at 210-651-5899, 651-5899, or online at quartermoonplumbing.com.
Hi, everybody. Joe Reinagle here for Window Nation. It is June. Summer is here along with those hot summer days, and that means constant AC use and high energy bills. It is time to upgrade your home's windows this month during Window Nation's Buy 4, Get 4 free sale. Imagine replacing all your windows with new energy-efficient ones and getting half of them for free. Plus, you could even get them with no money down and no monthly payment or interest for 2 years. Don't wait to put an end to your window problems. Sale ends soon, so visit windownation.com to book that consultation.
We have meaningful basketball being played in San Antonio for the first time in years, and the Roo Pub has proven to be the best place to go watch the games with those 3 massive 170-inch screens and TVs all around. All the games, all the fights, and when you show up at the Roo Pub, show up hungry. Open daily at 11, great for lunch, great for dinner, great for late at night, and the best place to watch the game. Just down from the big blind, right next to the Angry Elephant. The Roo Pub, 281 in Redland Road. We'll see you at the Roo.
Mellow Mushroom has the best pizza in San Antonio. Mellow delivers the best pizza experience with their delicious dough, premium ingredients, and unique flavors. Delivering a higher order of pizza is the standard. If Mellow can make a pizza this delicious, imagine what they can do with munchies, greens, calzones, and burgers. Mellow Mushroom has San Antonio's best happy hour with food specials and half-off adult beverages. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
Healthy vision is about more than seeing clearly. It's about going beyond. From comprehensive eye care with the latest technology to advanced vision solutions that provide deep insights into your overall health. And with doctors who build lasting relationships founded on trust, ensuring that every detail is taken care of. I choose Vision Source to never miss out on life's precious moments. Vision Source, beyond your eyes.
Did you really think Pure Talk was just going to sit back and watch America turn 250 years old without doing something awesome to celebrate? Of course not. That's why they're raising $250,000 for America's Warrior Partnership by the end of July. America's Warrior Partnership is on the front line of preventing veteran suicide. They've had extraordinary success, and here's how you can help. When you switch your cell phone service to Pure Talk this month, you'll be invited to round up to support America's Warrior Partnership. No pressure, but if you do, Pure Talk will match your donation dollar for dollar. And to further celebrate 250 years of our extraordinary democratic republic, Pure Talk is offering unlimited talk, text, and data for just $34.99 a month. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe. That's pound 250, say Mike Rowe. And happy birthday to us.
Dave Ramsey here. The only water softener I recommend is a quality water softener from Connecticut. It really is the last water softener you'll ever own.
ConnecticutSA.com.
And tell them Dave Ramsey sent you.
Ever tried answering emails with kids running through the house? Coldplay Cove is the better way to work and parent. A modern family space where you can grab coffee, work, recharge, and connect while your child safely learns and plays nearby. Built for families, rooted in community. Learn more at coldplaycove.com.
Let's be honest. Watching the Rangers is better when you got something on the line. On Rangers game days, call your shot with the Morning Huddles. Rangers Double Dinger Payday. Pick the Ranger you think will send one into the seats. He hits one, you're going to a Rangers game. He hits two. Now you've just been upgraded. Tickets and a hotel stay. That's what we call getting paid. Wake up with the Morning Huddle. Make your pick and win with the Morning Huddle's Rangers Double Dinger Payday. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, South Texas home of the Texas Rangers, the Spurs, and the Knicks. This is where you come to talk about the finals. 94.1 San Antonio's.
What do you think the number one key is tonight for the San Antonio Spurs to get a win in Game 3 of the NBA Finals? We're talking about it here on the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, live at the Roo Pub here at 281 and Redland Road. What's your confidence level like? That's our poll question today on YouTube that you can access through sasportstar.com. Just hope they won't get swept is at 48%. Confident Spurs are still going to win this series is at 35%. 17% say they won't win, but they're at least going to push it to 6. So in other words, they'll be competitive. They're going to win a couple of games in this series. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like, you think about the San Antonio Spurs team down 0-2. Now, there's some confidence level that they'll get a game tonight, and they've got to get tonight. I mean, teams are 0-164 when trailing 3-0 in the series, right? So if they don't win tonight, it's just a matter of time. Do they get swept? Can they get one and make it a gentleman's sweep? All of that kind of stuff, right? But in reality, I think they can get tonight, and Saturday night back here in San Antonio for Game 5 would be insane. But they've got to get tonight. And to get tonight, I think Wemby has to get off to a great start. When I look at Wemby, and we can all focus on his bad turnover at the end of the game, or that he missed the potential game winner. Now, that final shot, I didn't have a problem with what they ran there. Wemby makes that shot 9 out of 10 times. That was a makeable shot. I have no issue with the shot. I've seen a lot of people bitch about that. I had no problem with the shot. The end of Game 2, the turnover, I know a lot of you are mad that Mitch Johnson didn't call the timeout, but Mitch Johnson doesn't typically call the timeout in that situation. At least they're consistent. Me, and you heard me say the same thing after the Minnesota series. I'm as consistent as Mitch is. I disagree. You call a timeout there and you run a play. You know, you look at the Minnesota series. Remember, they didn't call the timeout. Julian Champagnie took a 3 again, had a good look in transition. It didn't go in. They lose the game. Right? If it goes in, they win the game. I think for me, where I look at Mitch Johnson and think, all right, I know that you prefer to play in transition, and your analytics tell you it's better that way and not let them set the defense. Minnesota, you were down. New York the other night, you're tied. You take the timeout. I don't give a damn if they're able to set their defense. You run a play, and you make sure that there's no time left after the rebound if you miss it, because at the worst, you're going to overtime. If you are down, all right, go transition if that's what your analytics tell you is the best thing to do. But again, Mitch Johnson has been consistent. And so while I can disagree with his philosophy, I can't disagree with the fact that they've been consistent like that all year long. So, again, you and I can argue and debate on whether you like the philosophy, but the inexperience seemed to show up because Steph Castle thought and said he was giving Wemby a space. I thought Wemby was going to dribble the ball up the floor because we've seen him do that a bunch. You can't make a pass to a guy that ain't looking. You just can't. Yeah, they had turnovers. They actually shot the ball pretty well from three, but they missed a bunch of free throws. It was, when they shot, 19% in the second quarter. And a lot of reasons to be frustrated with game two, but a lot of reasons I think that you can be confident heading into tonight's game three because of what you saw in the fourth quarter. What you saw in the fourth quarter the other night, even though the Spurs didn't come all the way back and walk out of there with a win to get this series even at 1, but they figured something out and they played with confidence. They didn't quit. This young team did not give up and, hide. You saw Cleveland quit. Cleveland quit in the Eastern Conference Finals. And that's a veteran group over there with the Cleveland Cavaliers. So when you look at it from that standpoint, and you see how loose this group has been since they've been in New York, even quite frankly, the media right after, they just lose a heartbreaker. They understand they're in an 0-2 hole, and they were still saying things along the lines of, we felt like we let that one get away. They're down 0-2 in the series, and they feel like they let 2 get away. Cleveland, let's go back to the Eastern Conference Finals, had that big lead in game 1, and the Knicks 20-plus down, they come back and get the win. The Cavaliers weren't the same the rest of that series. I mean, that Knicks comeback, took everything that Cleveland had, and it was gone. You haven't seen that from this Spurs team. And Mitch Johnson talked about how his group yesterday, he talked about this yesterday, how they've handled everything since that game 2 loss.
Same routine as we've had throughout the playoffs. You dig into the film, you argue, you beat yourself up, you give each other feedback, figure out how to help the guys for the next game. Just trying to improve on things that we know that we have to be better at and settle into the series and try to continue to get better.
Now, a lot of people have ideas on what the Spurs can do differently. Do you bench Julian Champagnie and start a Dylan Harper or a Harrison Barnes? I've seen that. Do you try to go a little bit smaller? A lot of things there. Mitch Johnson was asked yesterday, do you treat game 3 any differently?
Like a finals game. I think there's enough at stake that we'll treat it appropriately. I think there'll obviously be a ton of excitement around the game. It'll be, this arena is like no other, and the added circumstances will be on top of that. And we've been fortunate to play some games in this arena recently that have been, again, not finals, but Christmas game. And again, I think just the added attention around Victor and being in this arena a few times, we've experienced that. And I would expect tomorrow will be more than that, and it'll be a fun environment.
And it will be. It is going to be an interesting environment. Should be a fun environment. I suppose that's one way to look at it. A bit of a hassle for everybody getting in and out of the arena. But, in reality, they do have experience playing in MSG. When you look at, a Dylan Harper, a Julian Champagnie, who both grew up in New York City, the idea or from the area, they understand the Garden. I think Wemby does. He's a basketball historian, but they've been there. The fact that they were there yesterday, the fact that, Ben Stiller and Spike Lee and some of those celebrities were, courtside the other day in San Antonio. So I think some of that probably won't faze them. I hope it doesn't faze them. We'll see in the first couple minutes, but, playing in game 1, you would have thought after, the pregame stuff that was going on, all of it a little bit different. The introductions were longer than normal because of all the pop and circumstance. So, for athletes are such creatures of habit, and it's all about routine. Well, you get to the finals and your routine is off because everything pregame is just extended. It's all a little bit longer, and you're on the court a little bit different. But they handled it well. They had a good start. In both games, the team had a good start. Wemby did not. Wemby, just shot volume, has to take more than 4 shots in the first half. And I thought you would see more of that in game 2. Wemby taking more shots and Mitch drawing up more plays for Wemby to try to get going early. Now, what we don't know is, were those plays drawn up for Victor, and because of the defense the Knicks were playing, they just didn't happen because it wasn't the right basketball play. That certainly is a possibility, but I do think Vic has to be more aggressive. That aggression that we saw in the fourth quarter, you go to that huddle in the fourth quarter during the timeout when Victor was yelling at his teammates and barking and all of that kind of stuff, that attitude. He's got to be able to start the game with that same kind of fire and energy. You need to see that pissed off Wemby from the get-go, and he needs to assert himself early. And his teammates need to make sure that happens, because I think if Vic gets off to a great start, then everybody else is going to fall in line. The idea that he was seemingly passive, and seemingly tired in the first half, and maybe just the number of games has finally caught up to him. But you think about Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals when he just looked tired. His legs looked like he was, walking on these cement pillars. Somehow he found energy in Game 6 and 7 to get the Spurs to this point. He needs to find that same energy tonight. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. You want to call in and be a part of the show. Your thoughts on what needs to happen tonight. We'll take your calls. Go vote in the poll. We're at 140 votes. Let's try to get that over 200. 47% of you say you just hope they don't get swept. Go vote in the poll. sasportstar.com. Click on through to the YouTube. In the meantime, let's give something away. Edwin says we got a family 4-pack of tickets to go see the San Antonio Missions take on the Frisco Rough Riders tomorrow night. You want to go watch some baseball tomorrow night? We've got a family 4-pack of tickets. We'll give them to caller number 5 right now. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Caller 5, you're going out to the Wolf tomorrow to see the San Antonio Missions take on the Frisco Rough Riders. More Spurs calls and Spurs talk as we continue here on the Blitz, live at the Roo Pub, 281 and Redland Road. Injuries do happen, and when they do, you can skip the ER and get to the Ortho Now Injury Clinic by TSAOG Orthopedics and Spine. Ortho Now provides walk-in care for injuries like broken bones, dislocations, sprains, and strains, conveniently located in the Corey area with extended hours Monday through Saturday. They have on-site x-ray casting and bracing. In fact, Ortho Now has everything you need to treat your injury, but best of all, no urgent care or emergency room copay. So if you're injured, get to the Ortho Now Injury Clinic. Learn more online at tsaog.com. That's tsaog.com.
San Antonio. R.
About 3 hours away from tip-off, Game 3 of the NBA Finals. It is the Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Joe Reinagle on vacation. I'm Jason Minix. Glad to have you along on this Monday afternoon. Apparently a rainy Monday afternoon. You know, it's weird. I often complain that, we're in a studio with no windows, so you don't know what's going on to the outside world. I'm at the Roo Pub. There's a big window right there, but I haven't looked back in a while, and I did during the commercial break, and our engineer said it was raining pretty hard earlier. He's just glad he said it wasn't lightning. That's why our stations are still on the air because, sometimes, you see a dog will freak out during storms. So does our engineer, but for different reasons. He says, in words we can't say on the radio because he might have to go to work in an emergency situation. Right? Yeah. But all good. Everything's working. Which tells me if you were planning to be at one of those watch parties that are outdoors, that would suck. So get in here to the Roo Pub at 281 and Redland Road. I've got a table here tonight. I got it reserved already. My name's on it. Come hang out. If there's room for you to set your beer down, hang out. Let's watch the game together. Quite frankly, I've had a couple of my friends wuss out because, the Spurs are in an 0-2 hole and it's a Monday and, it went hard. Whatever, dude. It's the finals. Yeah, keep going hard for the next several days because that's what it's about. But seriously, it's your invite. Come hang out at the Roo Pub tonight. And while it would be cool to be at Madison Square Garden, and admittedly, I've got some FOMO. This old Spurs making it this kind of run, not in the budget and not in the planning, which is why Joe's on vacation this week. That's why next week I'll be on vacation. We didn't think the Spurs were going to be here. And, now we know we can't take June vacations from now until, however long Wemby's a part of this team, because as Antonio Daniels said on the Blitz last week, this is the worst the Spurs are going to be for the next many, many years. They are only going to get better and improve this roster, and these young players are only going to get better. But Tom Petrini, who he does one of those podcasts, the Silver and Black Coffee Hour. Tom used to work over at Channel 5. He posted a photo, and I can't read everything that his tweet says because of bad words, but a complete effing mess outside the Garden. Would be shocked if all the seats are full by tip-off. And it looks awful. It really does look awful. So while I would love to be in New York covering the finals, I look at that and where I'm going to be sitting in a couple hours with a cold beer in my hand at the Roo Pub. Now, who am I kidding? I'd rather deal with the mess and be at the Garden. But this is not a bad other option. But yeah, that just looks like a nightmare, and it's almost as if they, and this is what I don't understand, as organized as the NBA is, and I see this at Super Bowls, and I see this like at the Army-Navy game, when the president's going to be like at the Army-Navy game, they screen all the media at the hotel before you get on the bus, and then the bus is able to drive right in. Here, they told all the media to show up at whatever time, and because of the nightmare expected, everybody's there at the same time, which creates a nightmare. And then you factor in like all those TV guys and their camera equipment and all the, you think about, you ever see an engineer when they're traveling, they got a bunch of stuff. And, I worry about it when we travel with our radio equipment. It's in a case and it's going through the x-ray machine. And if the TSA guy isn't aware of anything, you see this crazy device looking thing with numbers and knobs on it and all these wires. And you could easily see on an x-ray, oh, that looks like, and so everything has to come out and then they inspect it looks like a zoo. Big part of it. I don't know. I think the game's going to be fun tonight. I think the Spurs get this one tonight. But to do that, Wemby has to get off to a great start. I think Victor needs to have one of those games like game one of the Western Conference Finals tonight. And he's looked tired, but they had the extra day off, playing Friday to Monday. Hopefully that will help. There's pictures of him floating around. I guess yesterday, he and his sister and some other people where it looked like at Central Park and he was sketching something. So he's doing Victor things. Victor's not worried about trying to stay focused with all the extra media attention.
Not really. I think it could be, but isolating myself is something I've practiced over the years, and I think I'm good at it, so it's not a problem. This is similar to something media-wise, like the Olympics.
Yeah, and I guess, I mean, it's possible, although looked like there was 4 times the amount of media in New York yesterday for the media availability than there was in San Antonio. But, at least he can draw from the comparison of playing in the Olympics to what this is like. But, he's not worried about the pressure of playing in the NBA Finals.
I think the key is acceptance a lot of times. And taking a step back, realizing the journey that's behind us and what's ahead of us, and just being okay with who I am, where I am, what I'm doing. I think at the end of the day, this is everything that I wish for. So there's no reason to really overthink it, this is what I'm built for.
It is what he's built for. I mean, that is a young man that is very comfortable in his skin. He understands and he invites it. It's what he's dreamed of. Now, I'm sure he didn't dream of being in an 0-2 hole, but getting this team to the NBA Finals from the moment he was drafted, even before he was drafted. I mean, it's what a guy like Victor was designed for. Now the question is, the mistakes made in games 1 and 2, can they be corrected here for tonight's game 3?
The biggest lesson is that we need to, capitalize and actually use all the efforts we did, because it felt like we did a lot. We did a lot of things wrong, but we also were relentless and kept pushing, but kind of like wasted that effort, even though I know it's not wasted because our lessons are learned. And I know we're not going to make the mistakes of the past again, but in a moment like this, we need to make these things matter.
Well, and again, they were relentless, and I guess wasted is probably the right word. I know what he was trying to say, and all right, maybe not because they can learn something from it, but that fourth quarter comeback, you get a win because of that relentless effort that you saw from the Spurs. They turned it on for however they did, whatever they saw, it started working. Can it carry over? Will it carry over? I know momentum is one of those things that you can't really say from one to the next, but you go and you look at film, and that's why when you hear these guys all saying, you kind of feel like you let one get away. It's not disrespectful to the Knicks. It's not them saying that they are better than the New York Knicks. They know that their mistakes cost them that game. Now, we can all focus on the turnover, which we will and we should, because in that particular moment, I mean, it was a disaster when you're trying to win a game. But Greg Popovich used to say this all the time. It's a game of mistakes. It's, can you make the winning play when it matters most? And the Spurs did not in game 2. You could look at the gazillion missed free throws. They had 8 missed free throws. This is generally a really good free throw shooting team, but they weren't shooting free throws very good the other night, and they lose a game by 1 with 8 missed free throws. If Julian Champagnie hits 1 shot in the second half, if Keldon Johnson shows up. So it's not just all on Wemby, but they do have to stay calm in the moment. And that is something that Wemby said De'Aaron Fox is really good at doing, is helping this team stay calm.
It's been great. I think it's been saving us a lot of trouble especially over the course of the season. It's sometimes he makes things very easy for us, and he's an experienced guy that we've always been able to turn to when we need it. Especially, I think it's easy to forget that our guards are really young and how precious he's been for them.
Precious. It's a great word for it. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Michael, you're on the Blitz. What's going on, man?
Hey, Jason, I wanted to call in to help out with Joe being out here a little bit, but that sound clip with Wemby is perfect to segue into a topic I have, and dare I say that I have something counterintuitive to it. Perhaps De'Aaron Fox and some of these veterans add something on the court that brings calm and presence in circumstances. But my question and wonder between the coaching staff and those same veterans is, what the hell are they doing at halftime, as this team throughout the entire regular season and playoffs has been entirely flat coming into the third quarter, which we have seen routinely happen in each of its series in the playoffs. And that is something obviously that the Knicks have a skill both through their veteran leadership and also skill to exploit. They've exploited it against all the other teams they've played in the playoffs. And I'm just coming from a perspective of, at a long period in my career, I've worked for large companies, having to manage and lead individuals, especially during peak seasons, let's say around the Christmas time. And one thing that matters more than anything on a daily basis is a sense of urgency to deliver every single day, meaning service execution, things of that sort. And
Sure.
I'm wondering if this coaching staff and these veterans are so caught up in the X's and O's and talking about schematics that nobody's actually talking about anything from the perspective of how to actually drive energy and personality and just sort of a will to win and focusing on those things, which I feel like is bearing out when we're watching these games one after the other and getting into the weeds of these topics. When
Michael,
the reality
hang on. I'm curious, because it sounds like you're high level management and probably some business where you're looking at the profit margins and whatnot. You mentioned seasonal, so Christmas a big time, and urgency. I out of curiosity, because this is a team in the NBA Finals, so what they're doing isn't necessarily bad. But what I'm hearing from you is somebody that you're up 8%, but the goal was 10%. So you're kind of pissed off and not celebrating being up 8%. Is that fair?
I'm looking at the way this team has performed throughout the entire season out of the half, particularly in the third quarters. We have the game against the Clippers, for instance, where we look at the heroics Wembanyama offered, but the reality is he had to do that because the team came out entirely flat in that game in the third quarter, and the Clippers took complete control of it. We have seen a routine of this, which I feel first is an indictment on the coaching staff, and secondly is an indictment on the veterans of this team, notwithstanding, of course, clearly this team was not constructed to get to this point in the season when we have about half of our bench that never comes off and contributes anything more than giving words of wisdom and fist bumps to players. That's where some of the exhaustion that exists with Wembanyama and some of these other players, wear and tear on their bodies. We can't do anything about that now. The coaches can't do nothing about that. The veterans can't do nothing about that. What they can do in the half is to try to get in these guys' faces and understand every single game now is a do or die. There is no other option now. It's time to light a fire, if you will, and just play with meanness, aggression, with one goal. We have to win, and that is it.
I'm with you there, Michael. Appreciate the call and the perspective, because I don't disagree with what he just said at all. Because if you've listened to this show for any length of time, we've bitched on this show, me and Reinagel, a bunch about what are they doing in the third at halftime, eating orange slices and listening to music, because where is the urgency? They tend to come out flat. We have seen that. But I don't know how much Mitch Johnson can change how he's coached all year in the NBA Finals if it's not his demeanor. And I have no idea what goes on at halftime. But if he's not a screamer and a yeller, and all of a sudden he goes into that locker room and he seems panicked, I think it has a negative effect on the team if the coach changes his demeanor. Mitch, and we talked about this in the Western Conference Finals, seems to be a lot more vocal. And Joe and I were questioning that. And my question was, are we just seeing him on TV more? Is he generally in the ear of the official that way? He does it a lot calmer than Greg Popovich ever did. How many of us have said over the say at some point, Mitch, go get a technical. You argue with the refs. You try to sway the refs, even if it costs you a tee. And he doesn't do it. You saw Mike Brown the other day and Jalen Brunson's dad way across the center barking at the officials. But that's not Mitch Johnson's demeanor. I don't know if he can change, and if it's good if he changes what he's done all year. And while we have noticed some issues with this team, and it is flawed, this roster is flawed, but they are in the NBA Finals, so it's not completely broken either. You've heard me say on this show many times, I don't think the front office thought they were going to be in the NBA Finals this year, because they didn't make a move at the trade deadline to fix some areas that you kind of knew were problems. And you're seeing some of those problems now. Man, that sniper from three, that 3-and-D guy, that'd be nice right about now. Another big would certainly be nice right about now, because Luke Cornett, the last two series, has struggled. Yes, he had that great block against Oklahoma City. He's had a playoff moment. But in reality, most of his time on the floor has been bad. And because it's been bad, he can't spend a lot of time on the floor, which means Vic is getting more minutes. And we're now seeing Vic seemingly run out of gas. And this roster, you look at the Knicks, they are so deep on the front line, way deeper than what the Spurs have. So that creates a bad matchup. And I know I read an article from Michael C. Wright the other day, ESPN.com, where apparently Brian Wright said something along the lines that they're going to be pretty good this year. And, pretty good and getting to the NBA Finals are two very different things. So when you think about not trying to improve the roster at the deadline, unless the Spurs thought this roster was capable of going to win and you didn't have to make a change, and changes don't always help. But right now, I know as a fan, I wish they would have done something to bring a little bit more to this roster. We're not seeing it. Fast start tonight. The team has had fast starts, but Wemby has not in the NBA Finals. I think Victor has to have a fast start tonight to get things going. And when I say that, I mean scoring the bucket, at least taking the shots. What do you have, 4 shots the entire first half in game 2? And you look at his second half numbers, they were incredible. But the first half, you look at the final stat line, looked like a good game. The majority of that coming after halftime, where they coincidentally apparently made some sort of adjustment and started to figure some things out. Great phone call, 210-656-ESPN. 656-3776. What are your thoughts? Head over and vote in our YouTube poll as well. How you feeling? Confident the Spurs can come back and win this series is at 38%. Just hope they don't get swept is at 46%. They won't win it all, but they'll push it to at least 6 games right now is at 16%. Go vote in the YouTube poll through sasportstar.com. As we get closer and closer to tip-off of Game 3, more of your calls coming up here on the Blitz on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. As we all get older, things happen. And if you're feeling tired all the time, it doesn't have to be that way for you. If your energy isn't what it was, you're always tired. Your drive isn't what it used to be, if you know what I mean. Workouts are harder if you actually do work out. Maybe you're just not feeling as focused as you normally do. It's not quite like yourself. It's time for you to get into Synergenics. About 1 in 4 men over 40 have low testosterone. And for a lot of guys, symptoms happen gradually and you don't even really notice it. And then all of a sudden you go, well, I'm getting older. This is life. Or, stress is getting to you or a lack of sleep. At Synergenics, their providers specialize in hormone health and testosterone replacement therapy. They're going to use lab work and your symptoms, your health history, and your goals to create a treatment plan that is customized to you. Not two men are alike, and not two treatment plans are alike. And when you think about the TRT that they use, it's the best on the market. They are experts at what they do. This is what they do. It's not some computer where you're answering questions online and then they say, oh, yeah, this is what we're going to send you. It's not that way at all. TRT is going to help support your energy, your focus, your libido, your mood. It's just your overall quality of life. Talk to your friends that are getting testosterone replacement therapy, and they're going to all tell you how much better their life is and that they probably wish they would have gotten tested sooner. You don't have to settle for feeling less than your best. Synergenics works with most major insurance providers, and that testosterone test is absolutely free. And maybe you don't need it. Maybe they'll come back and say, you know what, your numbers are high, you're good. Maybe it's something else. But that's the beauty of going to the experts. Book that initial appointment now. Go to Synergenics.com to book that appointment. Synergenx.com.
Riding I-10 with the Blitz. Afternoons 2 to 6, KTFM Floresville, and everywhere at sasportstar.com.
Dave Ramsey here. The only water softener I recommend is a quality water softener from Connecticut. It really is the last water softener you'll ever own.
ConnecticutSA.com.
And tell them Dave Ramsey sent you.
Watch every Team USA World Cup match at Social Spot. Enjoy great screens, great food, snacks, ice-cold beer, and the best World Cup atmosphere in San Antonio. Join the party at 930 Broadway. Social Spot in San Antonio Sports Star, your headquarters for the 2026 World Cup watch parties. This Father's Day, join the Blitz live at Coldplay Cove in Stone Oak. Enjoy Dad and Me sports activities, coffee tastings, giveaways, raffles, and family fun built for modern families. Grab your tickets now through the events page at ColdplayCove.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. Eczema, eczema, eczema. So many ads for eczema products. But those fancy TV ads don't mention that those prescription products can cost thousands of dollars. There's a smarter way. It's Exoderm for eczema and dermatitis. Exoderm costs less than $20. Yep, less than $20. You don't need a prescription, and it's available on the first aid aisle of your local store. Exoderm contains the #1 doctor-recommended ingredient in a clean, hypoallergenic cream with no harsh additives or nasty chemicals. Exoderm. Fast, effective relief from the itching and inflammation of eczema. This stuff really does work. Take back control. Heal eczema flares with soothing Exoderm Flare Control Cream. It's on the first aid aisle of your local drugstore, supermarket, and at Target and Walmart too. Exoderm for eczema. Now that's smart.
San Antonio's Sports Center.
The NBA Finals has shifted to the Big Apple in New York City as the San Antonio Spurs look to rebound and get their first win of the series after dropping a heartbreaker on Friday night to go down 0-2 in the series. Tonight's Game 3 marks the first NBA Finals game at Madison Square Garden since 1999. Tip-off is set for 7:30. You can watch the game on ABC. And in the college football world, Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby has been granted a temporary injunction against the NCAA that could clear him to play for the Red Raiders in 2026, even after the Cincinnati transfer quarterback was declared ineligible for wagering in college sports. I'm Edwin Hafner for 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
From the studios of San Antonio Sports Star, reaching more sports fans than any station in South Texas. Welcome to the Blitz. 2 decades on the radio, Jason Minix. 2 decades on TV, Joe Reinagle. 2 San Antonio sports voices you've trusted for years. This is the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
A little more than 2.5 hours away from tip-off. Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Glad to have you along on this Monday afternoon. I'm Jason Minix, Joe Reinagle on vacation. It is the Blitz here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star, live at the Roo Pub, 281 and Redland Road. And as I look out now, it's just after 5. You know, it's going to get so crazy in here in a little while. It's almost like the calm before the storm. And if you're looking for a place to come watch the game tonight, you know there's no better place than at the Roo Pub. Now, I've got a table reserved. And if you want to hang out and sit at the table, you can. Now, when it's full, you know, we'll all stand around the table because it's, you know, going to be, I hope, standing room only. And I say it that way because, well, I'm curious what the temperature is. See, I had a couple of friends that were going to come watch the game tonight at the Roo, and they said, nah, I went hard over the weekend. It's Monday. Spurs are going to lose. I don't know what's your attitude. Yeah, I call them a wuss. You're in the NBA Finals. I mean, I know it sucks, and none of us thought they would be down 0-2. But in reality, this isn't the kind of game where you want to sit at home and watch it with your dog. Come on out to the Roo Pub or wherever you're going. And looking at the weather outside, if you're planning to go to the Rock or down at the Pearl, see where the Pearl, the TV went out? They had one of the big old screens out on lawn, and it went out. Holy crap, that would suck. So get on in here to the Roo Pub. The rain ain't going to bother you inside, and the beer is going to be cold. So come hang out. And again, I got room at the table. And if I don't, we'll make room for you. It's going to be a fun night tonight because I'm flying solo. So it's me and you and a couple of my friends that are showing up, and you know we'll go from there. But when I ask you how are you doing tonight, that is our poll question heading into the game. Confident that they'll win the series, make history. Won't win, but we'll push it to 6. Just hope they don't get swept. Just hope they don't get swept is at 47%. And as great as this season, and getting swept sucks, right? And the idea that you could be swept. And I think the idea that this Knicks team is in position right now to sweep the San Antonio Spurs. They're up 2-0. They might not get on a plane again. I just can't see that happening. The Spurs team had chances to win both games, 1 and 2. They didn't. They didn't, obviously, because they're down 0-2. But the Knicks have won so many games in a row now. Now, most of them by double digits until this last one where they won by 1. But even you look at game 1, it didn't feel like the Knicks were double digits better than the Spurs. They just made plays down the stretch, and that's because Jalen Brunson. And their superstar was making plays when our superstar wasn't. And I realize there's a lot of people right now watching the Spurs that don't typically watch the San Antonio Spurs. A buddy of mine that lives in New Jersey just sent me a text. And generally, I would ignore this because it's idiotic. But then you read it and you realize, well, if he doesn't watch Wemby all the time, that's what he thinks of him. You guys talk about how great he is. I don't see it. I see a guy that's not aggressive and always out of position. Now, again, for somebody that doesn't watch the Spurs a lot, if that's his opinion after watching, you know, in the Western Conference Finals and during the finals, if you're a casual watcher, that's your opinion of Wemby. I mean, it's way off, but based on what you saw in games 1 and 2, he ain't wrong because Wemby hasn't been aggressive in this series. And the question is why? Is it truly just the fatigue factor that he's dealing with, which seems to be real? He does look tired, and for those of us that watch him every day, you can see a guy that does look tired. And Karl Anthony Towns is playing out of his mind. This might be the best that we've seen Karl Anthony Towns play. And for a Spurs fan, that sucks. For an NBA fan or a Knicks fan, you're saying finally. That guy, right now, Karl Anthony Towns would win MVP of the NBA Finals, not Jalen Brunson. And I don't think you would find many that would argue against that. Cat has been great in this series. Can Wemby get great tonight at Madison Square Garden? That's what you have to look at when you think about Wemby. He's got to be the best player for the San Antonio Spurs for 4 quarters on both ends of the floor. And there's a lot of pressure that comes with that. But it's also the kind of pressure that Victor is used to. It's the kind of pressure that he's kind of built for it. I mean, he is not worried about the pressure of the NBA Finals.
I think the key is acceptance a lot of times, and taking a step back, realizing the journey that's behind us and what's ahead of us, and just being okay with who I am, where I am, what I'm doing. I think at the end of the day, this is everything that I wish for. So there's no reason to really overthink it, this is what I'm built for.
And it really is. That's what he's built for. This is what Wemby is built for. And none of us thought that the Spurs were going to be a finals contender this season. They seemingly are at least a year ahead of schedule, as young as this team is. That doesn't mean if they don't somehow pull off a miracle that this isn't going to suck and it's going to hurt. But I think at some point you realize, man, what a hell of a run, an unexpected run. 5 teams in the history of the NBA have won the finals after being down 0-2. Most recently, the Milwaukee Bucks in 2021. Probably most famously, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Because if you remember that series, that was, LeBron against the Golden State Warriors, and you had that walk down block. I think Draymond got suspended for a game in that series. But Cleveland was down to the Golden State Warriors 0-2. And they were able to win that series. And that Golden State team felt like they couldn't lose a game. And they ended up losing that series. So while it hasn't happened a lot, it has happened. But the reality is the Spurs have to get tonight's game, because when trailing 3-0 in a best-of-7 series in the NBA, teams are 0-164. We've never seen in the NBA a team come back from being down 0-3. You've seen it some in hockey. You've seen it some in baseball. You've never seen it in the NBA. That does make tonight's game a must-win game for the San Antonio Spurs. While Ryan Eagle's head is exploding as I say that on a beach somewhere in Mexico, it's true. They have to play tonight's game like their season is on the line, because otherwise it's just a matter of time. Here's your DNR. If they don't win tonight, it's going to feel that way. And hopefully they have the right attitude when they show up. And again, they, as a team, getting off to a fast start hasn't been an issue. Wemby getting off to a fast start has been an issue. We will head up to Madison Square Garden in about 20 minutes or so. Our friend Don Harris from News 4 will join us just after 5:30 when he gets done with his TV work that he's probably doing right now, although they don't have Channel 4 on here at the Roo Pub. But Don Harris just after 5:30 on Game Night San Antonio, brought to you by Vision Source, and we'll get a sense from him what it's like in the Garden. Coming up here on the Blitz. In the meantime, more of your calls, 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. It's also a Mellow Monday. We've got a $50 gift card to Mellow Mushroom to give away. Let's do that right now. Caller number 9. That gift card is yours. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Caller 9. You'll win a gift card to go to Mellow Mushroom. Your phone calls on the Spurs ahead of tonight's Game 3. Coming up here on the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. If you need your logo on any kind of gear, you need some promotional items made, you need to get into Sammy's Embroidery and Printing down on San Pedro. You need your logo on a nice dress shirt, a fishing shirt, a golf shirt, Go see Sam. He's got all the big name brands. Even now carries a full line of Tommy Bahama. He's got Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, Travis Matthew, Port Authority, North Face, Eddie Bauer, to name a few. He has over 25,000 caps and more than 75 color combinations on display in his showroom. And, of course, he has all the popular cap brands like the Richardson 112 style trucker caps, Katie Caps, Nike Cap America in stock waiting for your logo. If you need T-shirts, screen printed, go see Sam. If you need uniforms, he has over 700 uniform lines to choose from. And obviously his sign shop does, well, signs, banners, flags, card magnets, vehicle wraps, window decals, and more. Promotional items, I don't know what Sammy doesn't do. Sammy's Embroidery and Printing. Call him. 210-824-3900. No order too big, certainly no order too small. All items do come with a warranty, and you know Sam is the only company in Texas that offers one-day turnaround. Call him or go by that massive showroom down on San Pedro, about a mile inside Loop 410, right there across from the McDonald's, or check the website, samsembroidery.com, for Sammy's Embroidery Club.
The Morning Huddle.
Why are you dressed like that? You look poor. Dude, you're in a prison jumpsuit. You look poor.
Well, his texts are green.
What's wrong with your clothes? You look poor. That's why I always tell Rob when he says those green texts. Why are your texts green? You look poor.
I know. That's poor people.
Oh.
I'm with you. I used to make fun of guys like me. I get it.
Galana says, you text green like a poor. You text like a poor person with your green bubble. B. Hannon says, a girl stopped talking to me because I sent her a green text.
The Morning Huddle with AJ and Rob. Weekday mornings 6 to 10. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Hi, my name's Jason Thompson. I've lived in San Antonio for more than 50 years. Went to grade school, high school, and graduated from law school right here. San Antonians have trusted me as their attorney after serious injury and fatality collisions since 1994. My website is alawyerforus.com. Why a lawyer for us? Well, after several years of practice, I watched as insurance companies created their own law firms solely to defend against auto claims. Today, there are very few insurance companies that do not have their own captive law firm filled with attorneys whose job is to minimize what the insurance company has to pay on an auto claim. If you or a family member is injured in a traffic collision, you will need your own attorney. Just remember alawyerforus.com. For many lawyers you see on billboards, your case will be handled by a non-lawyer or a staff lawyer. If you call me, Jason Thompson, I will be the lawyer you speak with. The initial consultation is always free. If you or a family member needs an experienced attorney you can trust, I want you to call me, Jason Thompson. My number is 900-0400. That's 210-900-0400 or alawyerforus.com.
Let me tell you about Window Nation. You know, it is June now and the weather is getting hot. You know it's only going to get hotter. And you know exactly what that means. It means you're going to be running your air conditioner pretty much nonstop. Well, if you're like me, you don't want all that cold air going to the outside. But if your windows are bad, you know exactly that's what's going to happen. And that just adds to the money you're spending on your electric bill. Look, Window Nation is a great place to get those windows fixed, get them replaced. And right now is a great time to do that. They've got a sale going on. It's called Buy 4, Get 4 Free. Can you imagine replacing all your windows and getting half of them for free? That's a crazy deal. Plus, you can get them with no money down, no monthly payment or interest for 2 years. What a deal. You know this deal can't last that long. But Window Nation, they back them up with a lifetime warranty. They're also rated A+ with the Better Business Bureau. It is a great company to do business with. They're going to take care of you, whether it's now, a month from now, or 20 years from now, if you've got their windows in your house. Take advantage of Window Nation's Buy 4, Get 4 free sale. It's going on right now. Now, the sale's going to end soon. It has to. Too good of a deal. Go to windownation.com. That's windownation.com. That's how you book your consultation.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from IQ Bar. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at eatiqbar.com/policy/terms of service.
I've got good news and bad news. Here's the bad news. Most protein bars are packed with sugar and unpronounceable ingredients. The good news? There's a better option. I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar plant protein bars to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. IQ Bars are packed with 12 grams of protein, brain nutrients like magnesium and lion's mane, and zero weird stuff. And right now, you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. Clean ingredients, amazing taste, and you'll love how you feel. Refuel smarter, hydrate harder, caffeinate larger with IQ Bar.
Try our delicious IQ Bar sampler pack with 9 plant protein bars, 8 hydration mixes, and 4 mushroom coffee sticks. And now you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping when you text RADIO to 64,000. Text RADIO to 64,000 to get your 20% off. That's radio to 64,000.
Attention taxpayers. If you or your business owe the IRS back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, the IRS has greenlighted billions of dollars in tax relief to those facing financial hardship through its tax relief initiatives. If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at Tax Pro USA to see if you qualify by dialing 800-444-9112. If you or your business owe at least $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS or state, you can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Call Tax Pro USA to get your free tax assessment to see what you qualify for by dialing 800-444-9112. 800-444-9112. That's 800-444-9112.
Now at Lowe's, faster quotes start at the Lowe's Pro Desk. Got a material list handwritten on a sticky note or saved as a photo? Perfect. Bring it to us and get a quote in minutes. And if you don't see what you need on the shelf, we'll help you get it. You can access thousands of products beyond what's available in store or on Lowe's.com, right from the Lowe's Pro Desk. Build quotes faster and source the materials you need to keep your jobs moving. Just like that, at Lowe's.
You could win unmatched views of the match during the Twin Peaks Go for the Gold giveaway presented by Michelob Ultra and Casamigos. Visit TwinPeaksSoccer.com to enter for your chance to win by June 14th. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
Listen to 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star on your Amazon or Google smart speaker and just say, Alexa, play 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Who's going to be the guy that steps up tonight? Not named Victor. Because I think Wemby has to have one of those kind of games tonight if the Spurs are going to make this a series and get a win tonight. It is the Blitz here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. I'm Jason Minix. Joe Reinagel on vacation this week. Live at the Roo Pub, 281 and Redland Road. Come hang out with us here. Watch the game tonight. Weather looks kind of crappy outside, so come on in. The Roo Pub, man. Cold beer, great food. Come hang out. Those 3 big old TVs, and looks like they're on the court now doing some pregame stuff. Michael Wilbon is at least on ESPN for pregame, so at least some of them have made it inside dealing with all that security. Don Harris will join us in about 15 minutes. He is inside at Madison Square Garden. He'll join us on Game Night San Antonio, brought to you by Vision Source. In the meantime, how are you guys feeling? 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Our YouTube poll question, 3 options. Just hope they won't get swept is leading the way at 47%. Confident that they will win the series is at 37%. They won't win it all, but they'll at least push it to 6 at 16%. So it feels a little bit like just don't get embarrassed and get swept versus turning it into a competitive series. And I do think that that's tonight, right? If the Spurs can get game 3, they can get this series. If they can get tonight's game, they can turn things around. At the end of game 2, that fourth quarter, did the Spurs learn enough? And can that carry over to tonight? Now, it's going to be insane inside that arena. And we've all seen all the different stories about the ticket prices. Although I did see earlier today those numbers were coming down. Just because somebody is asking for that kind of money doesn't mean they're going to sell it for that kind of money. And I don't know if the crash is coming down because even in a city like New York that has, I don't know how many millionaires and billionaires living in it and big old corporations that could put it on the company Amex, it's still, that's a lot of money for a basketball game. Although did you see that the New York Knicks auctioned off a pair of tickets that sold for $1 million? That was the winning auction for 2 Celebrity Row seats. Row AA seats, 25 and 26. Right center court. Now, according to the press release about it, the winning bid was split by the law firm of Gibson, Dunn, and Crutcher and a private equity firm called Veritas Capital. It was a fundraiser for the Garden of Dreams Foundation, and the Knicks said it was the largest single donation in the history of the foundation. And again, you can see companies like that. And again, that's going to a charity, and you get tickets on Celebrity Row. Now, they don't sell those tickets. Those are kind of free for celebrity. I say kind of free. I don't know if they're free for celebrities or they're reserved for celebrities and they bill the celebrities. Obviously, a Ben Stiller or a Spike Lee can afford those tickets. But you typically can't buy those tickets. And they auctioned some off and got $1 million. And again, I just can't wait to kind of hear about and see what it's like inside Madison Square Garden tonight. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Jason, you're on the Blitz. What's going on, man?
You know, man, I'm just ready for Game 3 to kick off, man, because I believe the Spurs team can actually do it. I mean, it was an uncharacteristic mistake made by our best player, and that's all I've heard over the weekend. That's all they keep talking about, man, and it's like they're disrespecting the Spurs, man. It's like they're already counting them out before they won. It's like it just agitates the hell out of me, man, because I know, and you listen to what the Spurs players, you know, Castle, Vassell, and Wemby and all them said about the game. You know, Wemby saying it was an uncharacteristic mistake, you know, and I believe that it was. In the moment like that, your emotions get high, and you gotta give them a pass. I mean, I realize we lost the game, but to hear these people talk,
I'm with you there, but I'm not giving him a pass. I mean, you can't criticize Wemby and still love him. He made a mistake in that moment. That's not worthy of a pass. I mean, it's like Manu's foul on Dirk back in the day. Still love Manu, but that was a dumb foul. And, that play, if the Spurs don't win this series, is going to join the likes of the Manu foul on Dirk, the .4 Derek Fisher shot, the Ray Allen shot, as one of the worst moments in Spurs franchise history. Because granted, because people want to protect Wemby, if Mitch calls a timeout, that turnover doesn't happen. But Wemby, a lot of times, will bring the ball up the floor. Steph Castle was expecting his big man to bring the ball up the floor because he's a 7'5" guy that thinks he's a point guard, but we've seen him do it before. I wasn't mad at Steph Castle. I know a lot of people are. That's on Wemby. I mean, he even said afterwards what he would have done differently at the end of game 2.
All the time. I don't know. I hear a lot of people telling, they tell you to go back and watch the play. And some people are saying that Mitch Johnson was yelling, call timeout, call timeout. I don't know how true that is. I didn't see it in real time. But, yeah, he made a mistake, and I agree with you 100%. I'm just, man, these Knicks, man, they're so arrogant. You just want to hate them, man.
You got 2 hours until this one starts, man. You got to flush that and get ready for game 3. And that's what this organization is trying to do. Jason, appreciate the phone call. And again, I don't think Mitch was saying call timeout because he's the coach. Call timeout. You watch that replay in slow motion. It looked like Steph Castle was looking over at the bench, and when he doesn't see the coach calling for a timeout, he's up the floor. He said afterwards he was trying to give space to Victor because he thought Victor was going to bring the ball up the floor. And again, not unusual. And we can argue all day long on whether Mitch Johnson should have called a timeout. I think he should. That's me. But he consistently all year doesn't call a timeout in that situation. He thinks, and he's the coach, and I guess the data says they've got a better shot of trying to get that bucket in transition with the defense not able to get set. It's a philosophy. And again, he's the coach. That's his philosophy. Me, I would have called timeout. You know, we had the same conversation when they lost game 1 against Minnesota. Remember, they had a chance to win that game, got the rebound, didn't take the timeout. Julian Champagnie had the open look at the 3, had a good look at it. It didn't drop. The Spurs lose the game. Should they have called a timeout? Mitch Johnson doesn't call timeouts in that situation. Now, in this situation, I think the biggest difference when you look at the play versus Minnesota versus the play the other night in game 2 against the New York Knicks, Minnesota, the Spurs were down. Julian Champagnie's shot would have won the game. The Spurs were tied at 104. You call a timeout, you draw something up, and you take that shot. If you don't make it, you're going to overtime. Instead, you turn the ball over. Jalen Brunson goes 1 of 2 from the free throw line. So the Spurs caught a break that he missed one. And then you still had a chance to draw up a play and take a shot to win the game. And that shot that Victor took is one that he makes 9 out of 10 times. He had a good look at it. It looked good when it was leaving his hands. It just didn't drop. So even with the bad turnover, they still had an opportunity to win the game. He missed another one with about, 30 seconds to play? And again, for a guy that only took 4 shots in the first half, he came on strong in the second half. He took over in the fourth quarter. You know, that huddle shot where he's barking at his teammates. And at that point, honestly, I was pissed, going, why is he yelling at his teammates? Has he not seen how he's played tonight? But, you know, his version of I want some nasty speech, to his teammates worked for him and for everybody else because they had that great comeback. The question is, they seem to have figured something out in that fourth quarter, and they erased that big Knicks lead. They didn't quit. A young team in a situation like that, the way they were getting beat on their home floor in game 2, a young team with no fight would have stopped playing. Hell, we saw a veteran team in Cleveland facing a similar situation, and those boys quit in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Knicks barely had to break a sweat. So that should, as a Spur fan, give you some confidence that they feel like they can play with this Knicks team, that they're better than this Knicks team, even though they are down in the series 0-2. And so when you hear them say things like they feel like they let one get away, they did, and it's true. But credit the Knicks. They're on this long winning streak for a reason. That's a better basketball team, a more complete basketball team than I thought they were coming into this series. I can tell you that. Because quite frankly, they used to so bad, I didn't know how good this Knicks team was. They've done a good job defensively on Jalen Brunson. But, man, Jalen Brunson has made some big-time shots when it mattered most, but he has not had a great series. And Karl Anthony Towns is playing his best basketball. I've never seen Cat play this great. Not that I watch a lot of Knicks basketball, but playoff basketball, I've never seen Cat play this well. And while it's only 2 games in, right now it's Karl Anthony Towns as the MVP of the finals, not Jalen Brunson. We'll see how Wemby attacks him tonight as we continue here on the Blitz live at the Roo Pub, 281 and Redland Road. We'll head to Madison Square Garden. Don Harris from News 4. He will join us next here on the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Got a buddy who thinks he knows baseball? Perfect. On Rangers game days, prove it with the Morning Huddle's Rangers Double Dinger Payday. Pick the Ranger you think will launch it out of here. He hits 1, you and a friend are headed to a Rangers game. He hits 2. Now, you've got tickets and hotel. Yeah, you're making a night of it, and your buddy's buying the first round. Wake up with the Morning Huddle. Call your shot and win the Morning Huddle's Rangers Double Dinger Payday. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, South Texas home of the Texas Rangers.
Let me tell you about my Connecticut quality water softener. I absolutely love this thing. It has been the best thing I think I've put in my house in a long, long time. It is so much better than any other water softener I've ever had in any other house that I've ever had. It is fantastic. All their products are made right here in the good old U.S. of A. And they've been serving San Antonio for over 50 years. A Connecticut quality water softener protects all of the things in your house that you hold dear, including yourself and your family. Right now, for a limited time, they've still got this great deal going on. When you buy a Connecticut quality water softener, they're going to give you for free a reverse osmosis drinking station that they will install right there at your kitchen sink. What does that mean for you? It means great tasting water. You don't have to lug bottled water home from the grocery store anymore, and you don't have to deal with all that plastic litter that you have to deal with all the time. Plus, there's 0% interest for 12 months. Free money for 12 months. 656-PURE is the number you need to call, 656-7873, or you can get them online at ConnecticutSA.com. And you know the jingle, sing it with me. It's the last water softener you'll ever own. Call 656-PURE, Connecticut.
Hi, I am Officer Sarai Walton with the San Antonio Police Department. SAPD is always hiring, and you can apply online if you think you have what it takes to become part of the SAPD family. Submit your application at sapdcareers.com. Once you submit your application, you will be contacted to begin the process. The San Antonio Police Department is always hiring. Start your journey to a rewarding career by applying online at sapdcareers.com. That is sapdcareers.com.
Hello, I'm Ozempic. And I'm other GLP-1s, kind of like him. Hey, are you shaking a maraca?
No, I'm shaking the pill version of Ozempic, which no one should ever do except in ads like this.
A nice disclaimer.
Hey, thanks. Ask your doctor about which FDA-approved uses of the Ozempic pen or pill may be right for you. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and learn more about Ozempic semaglutide tablets, 9 milligrams, and Ozempic semaglutide injection, 2 milligrams.
There's a pill version of Ozempic.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Ever tried answering emails with kids running through the house? Coldplay Cove is the better way to work and parent. A modern family space where you can grab coffee, work, recharge, and connect while your child safely learns and plays nearby. Built for families, rooted in community. Learn more at ColdplayCove.com.
Buyers Barricades is proud to provide traffic control, rental, and sales for work zones and events in the San Antonio area and beyond. Buyers Barricades, the Texas authority in barricade rental. Learn more online at buyersbarricades.com. That's buyersbarricades.com.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The Spurs and the Knicks. This is where you come to talk about the finals. 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star. This is Game Night San Antonio. Brought to you by Vision Source on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star. Every weekday game night, the Blitz with Jason and Joe get you inside and ready for tonight's game. From insiders to an in-depth preview of tonight's game, this is Game Night San Antonio. Brought to you by Vision Source, beyond your eyes.
Game 3 of the NBA Finals is tonight. Let's talk about it on Game Night San Antonio, brought to you by Vision Source. Head over to Sitterly Vision Source and Dry Ice Center on Thousand Oaks near Jones Maltzberger, or Dr. Gonzalez Vision Source, Dr. Diana Gonzalez on Market Ridge, which is near the HEB at 281 in Evans, not far from where we are at the Roo Pub right now. It is the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Joe Reinagle on vacation. I'm Jason Minix. Don Harris from News 4 is at Madison Square Garden, joining us now on the Buyers Barricades guest line. Don, set the scene from getting into the building today, my friend.
Well, Jason, I'm live on the radio, and guess who? Shaq, say hi to people in San Antonio.
This guy made me famous. He came to my high school and harassed me. I didn't want to talk to the media. He made me talk to him. Just want to say I love San Antonio and go Spurs.
Thanks, Shaq.
Absolutely. That is an awesome endorsement. Did not expect to have Shaq on at 94.1 today. Well done, my friend.
Me
Thank
neither.
you.
He just walked by. You got lucky.
Yeah.
We just happened to we're just walking here, and he came by on his way to do his job. I can't tell you what a crazy madhouse this, Jason. We got here at 9 o'clock in the morning. I've been here all day. You couldn't leave because if you left, you weren't going to be allowed back in. When we went through security, there is a black fence around a 2-block area around Madison Square Garden. You have to basically give blood. It's 10 times worse than TSA. The Secret Service went through my backpack, went through my shaving kit. The dude took off the top of my chapstick and looked inside of it. They're going to do that to 20,000 people tonight. So it just shows you how tight security is around here and how nuts this is with the president going to be here tonight.
That is insane. And I saw some video and some photos earlier of what a bleep show it is outside right now, and those are for people that are trying to get in the afternoon. I mean, camping out there since 9 a.m. was probably the smart move, even though your day has been long and it kind of sucks. But, the atmosphere is going to be incredible. But how does this Spurs team respond tonight being in an 0-2 hole?
Well, with everything they've got. And what I'm most impressed with is the attitude of this team is, and I don't know that they'll beat the Knicks tonight, but I know this. They're cocky, like to a man. When you talk to De'Aaron Fox, when you talk to especially De'Aaron Fox and Steph Castle, they are extremely confident, extremely believe in their heart that they're the better team and that they gave 2 away, not just 1. And so I guess, you got to deal with the craziness of the Garden and the distraction of the president being around here. But I think once the ball is tipped, they'll concentrate on playing basketball. Their problem is not Madison Square Garden or, what's going on circular around the game. Their problem is dealing with the Knicks and the Knicks' length and all that kind of stuff.
I don't want to talk. Stop making me talk, man.
You got, Celebrity Row is famous down there, but I mean, it sounds like you were sitting in those really expensive courtside seats while doing this as people are showing up and getting ready to go to work. I look at everything that's going on with this series in this game, and I think it starts with Victor, and he's not above criticism because he's got to play better. In my mind, has to get off to a fast start. The fact that he took 4 first-half shots the other night is unacceptable. How does Vic somehow find some energy that seemed to escape him in games 1 and 2?
Hey, Charles Barkley's coming by here. Charles, say hi to San Antonio.
Hey, San Antonio, good luck to y'all tonight. I don't want to see y'all get swept. Good luck.
Well, because he wants to come back and get some more churros. We saw that he enjoyed it, and the Riverwalk treats him well, and I imagine he wants to be here on a Saturday night.
Oh, this is hilarious. Jason, you said we were at those expensive seats. I wish you could see exactly where I'm standing. We are in the darkest bowels of the arena where no one is allowed and where they have stuck the media workroom. So that's it's not as glamorous as you might think being out there in the nice $1 million seats. Back to your question about Vic.
So hang on a second. So the other night before game 2, and Joe did this game 1, we left the studio early to do the final 2 segments from the arena. and I was sitting about 3 rows from where Mike Breen calls the game, right at center court. You're saying you don't have that same kind of access at the Garden right now?
Dude, the Garden is locked down. They threw everybody out. I did my live shot inside the bowl for 5:30, but then they threw us out. They're kicking everybody out. There's so many different suites of security and Secret Service as we get closer to game time. Wait till you see my 6 o'clock live shot. We have to go from the back halls, and Jack Green's just trying to make it work to do TV because we're not going to be allowed in the arena. It's nuts. Back to your question about Vic. They said the same thing at shoot-around today. The Spurs were saying that they know they've got to get him more than 4 shots, and part of it's on him and part of it's on the team and part of it's on the coaching staff. It's a shared responsibility. They've got to set screens for him. He's got to set screens for them, and they've got to find a way to get him in actions where he's closer to the rim, where he's moving towards the rim, and where he's being more aggressive. No doubt about it.
When you look at it, 2 games, right? We've seen the same from Vic for the most part in 2 games. And it's almost like they didn't adjust. Is that because of what the Knicks are doing, or do you think Wemby is just truly out of gas?
I think it's because of what the Knicks are doing. If you watch the tape and you look at the screen and rolls, Vic is setting good screens and then trying to roll to the rim, and they send an extra body over there to tag him and to put a shoulder in him, and he's not able to roll towards the bucket. So guess what you have to do? You have to stop running screen and roll, right? So, they're going to have to figure out different ways to get him in action to make it work. And if they don't, they'll continue to struggle. But Mitch is a good coach. Their staff is a good staff. And, like we've seen in every series, there's chess matches, but I don't think it was necessarily that. I think it was just poor execution down the stretch. They had chances to win both of those games and just were a young, dumb team down the stretch. And that's what kind of we expected from this team the entire playoffs, and they proved us wrong the entire playoffs, that you don't need experience. Well, you kind of do, and I think they're kind of learning that.
Don Harris from News 4 joining us here on the Blitz on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. And it kind of leads into the next question. The wording is going to be poorly, but the reality is they have bucked the young and experienced trend the entire time. Is it just because the final stage is so big that we're seeing it now? They're not really ready for this moment?
I think they're ready. I think that when you're young, you rely on a lot of instinct. And when you're more experienced, you rely on that experience and reps. And so, for example, when you have 12 seconds left and you get a rebound, there's muscle memory there of either calling a timeout or having a play. And I read this somewhere. If that would have happened to the Knicks, the rebounder knows exactly to go to Jalen Brunson. Brunson knows where to go to get the ball, and they immediately look for a mismatch going down court. And if they don't have something, then they would call a timeout. Well, the Spurs, they're rotating. Harper, Fox, Castle as primary ball handlers. They changed that during these finals and played Dillon a lot more in different combinations. So what are they doing? Wemby gets the rebound and he pushes it ahead to Castle, who's running a lane as he should. He's not expecting the ball. But those are things that you learn over time. And Jason, I went through this the other day on Twitter, just off the top of my head memory of Tragic Johnson in '84, blew 2 games against the Celtics, comes back and wins it in '85. Isaiah Bird steals the ball in '87, comes back in '88, loses to Magic in 7 with a sprained ankle, comes back in '89 and finally wins it. Jordan had to get past the Pistons. Manu's foul on Dirk in '06. Spurs come back and win in '07. Derek Fisher's .4 in '04. Spurs come back to win in '05. Ray Allen in '13. Spurs come back to win in '14. Sometimes you have to go through some trials and tribulations as a team in order to get to the mountaintop. That's not to say they can't do it. It's just to say that's normally the recipe.
You know, as you bring that up, a topic I had earlier, and you're the perfect person to ask this. If the Spurs don't end up winning this series, where does that play fall when it comes to the horrific moments in Spurs history? And I brought up the Manu foul on Dirk and Derek Fisher at .4 and Ray Allen. This is right up in there with, I can't believe that just happened to this team.
Yeah, but, nobody ever remembers a game 2. And that's why I think it will be less than that. At the end of the day, I think it won't be a Ray Allen moment, game 6 or 7. I think it'll be there. Very rarely do you think a series is won or lost in game 2. I think we're saying that now because that's the freshest one in our minds. But we'll see what happens tonight and down the road. But yeah, I think game 2s are often forgotten about.
Well, and they are unless they're not. And because I look at like Ray Allen, that was game 6. Don, I was in Miami. You were in Miami. I don't remember a thing about game 7 except for I'm told it was played. When I think of that series, I think about Ray Allen. And, we were in the tunnel and I wasn't that far from you. And the trophy was right there and trying to watch on that little monitor and not really seeing what was happening. And I know there was a game 7, but I couldn't tell you one detail about game 7.
I remember Tim Duncan missing a bunny at the end of game 7 that would have tied the game with less than a minute to go. But you're right. Game 6 and Ray Allen is the one that people thought about for months. For months. I would get sick in my stomach, Yeah. I would just be walking down the street and get sick of your stomach going, oh, okay. I mean, for weeks, that was terrorizing San Antonio.
Well, hopefully we get to forget about this because the Spurs can make a little history and join the group of teams that fell down 0-2 and then came back and won the series. The question is, how do they get a win tonight at the Garden?
Just basically come out, punch them in the mouth, go ahead early and make shots. Sometimes it's pretty simple. Jason, if you go back and look at game 7 against Oklahoma City, the difference between the Spurs winning and losing that game wasn't about any rotations or X's and O's. It was Luke Cornett made a play and guys made shots. Down the stretch, Champagnie hit a 3. Harper hit a 3. Keldon had 2 at the beginning of the quarter. But it started with about the 6-minute mark, and as the clock went down from 6 minutes to the end of the game, they made shots. Harper gets a putback. Castle gets a putback. If you make shots, the ball goes in the basket, you have a much greater chance of winning the game. That's just the name of the game is put the ball in the hole. And we'll see. When you shoot a good percentage from 3 and when you make shots down the stretch, you have a great chance to win. And I think it's going to be that simple tonight. Make shots, don't turn the ball over, and avoid the huge run that gets this crowd into it.
And make, I don't know, free throws. I mean, normally I'm saying make your threes, but the other night they were awful at the free throw line, and then they end up losing by 1. Now, I know you were at the media sessions yesterday. Was there any player that you kind of walked away from going, man, that guy just doesn't have the right attitude for this moment?
I don't know about that. I mean, I think they have the right attitude. We'll see, man. I mean, that's why they play the game, right? I mean, I don't have any, like I don't know. I'm in a place where there's nothing that can happen from here on out that is going to put a damper for me on what this team achieved this year. Like, they were a 6 seed, right? They were a 47-win team that was going to make the playoffs and lose in the first round. The fact that they're here where they are now, I mean, they're playing with house money. Like, this is going to be a very successful season on the steps to 3-4 rings for Wemby. It may not be this year, but it's not the end of the world. This team came way further than we expected.
Well, I agree with that. In fact, we've talked about that some on the show. No matter what happens, this was a successful season, a completely unexpected season. I know Reinagel right now is on a beach in Mexico. Next week, I'm going to be on a beach in the Grand Caymans because, well, we didn't expect the Spurs to be in the NBA Finals. Now, there was a time, and you know this in the media business, you didn't plan vacations in June because the Spurs were going to be in the NBA Finals. You had to plan for it every year. Well, we haven't done that the last several years. And, neither one of us bought trip insurance. So, you know what? I mean, you're still going on vacation, but I know Reinegel's hating life right. Well, not really, because he's on a beach in Mexico, but he wishes he was at work because this is the fun time of year, but it's so completely unexpected.
Yep, I agree. And guess what? I had to take one in the middle of the Oklahoma City series because we had one booked that I couldn't cancel, and my wife was going to kill me if we didn't go. And I missed games 1 and games 2 of Oklahoma City. Never done it before. Probably will never do it again. But that's how you got to plan your vacation better.
Don Harris,
I got to be on TV, man.
Appreciate you, man. I was about to wrap it up. Go get your work done. Appreciate you jumping on with us here from Madison Square Garden. Don Harris tonight, and again, they're going to have great post-game coverage after the game is over. So check out Don over there. I appreciate him jumping on the Buyers Barricades guest line, where they provide traffic control, rental, and sales for San Antonio and beyond online at buyersbarricades.com. And also very cool that he was able to get Shaq and Charles Barkley as they were walking by, getting ready for them to do their pregame show. That was cool. That's Don Harris getting it done. How you feeling about the game? That's our poll question. Confident that they'll win this series is at 40%. A huge comeback. Just hope they don't get swept is at 45%. Won't win it, but they'll push it to at least 6 games is at 15%. You still got time to go vote in the poll on our YouTube page. You can access that through sasportstar.com. If you're on YouTube, you can just search San Antonio Sports Star and vote in the poll as we get you ready for the game that will tip off about 7:42 as we continue here on Game Night San Antonio, brought to you by Vision Source. And you still got time if you want to try to get in a call, 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Couple minutes left in the show. On Twitter, at Jason Minix, a tweet from Token Stew, at Jason Minix. Biggest question, who from the Spurs and or Knicks is going to have themselves a game? Because Champagnie had 16 in game 1. Brunson had 30 in game 2. It was Bridges going for 20 and De'Aaron Fox going for 20. He says, my bet is Castle or Harper. And again, I think both those guys, Dylan Harper has been great in this series. Hell, he was the only Spur that was worth a damn really in game 1. And I expect to see a lot of Dylan Harper playing tonight, and especially in the fourth quarter when he didn't get to play in game 1. Castle has got to focus on the defensive end, and on the offensive end, I think, honestly, slow it down some. And really, tonight to me is about Vic. Vic needs to have himself one of those nights in the Garden. And if he can do that, it's going to be 2-1 and all the pressure. And I think the pressure tonight is on the New York Knicks. But if the Spurs get tonight, we've got ourselves a series. If not, game 4, it's just a matter of time. That's live support, and you're pulling out the DNR. So while it's technically not a must-win game, it is a must-win game for the San Antonio Spurs, in my mind. If they go down 0-3, it's over. But you look at De'Aaron Fox, the big thing with De'Aaron is he's got to limit the turnovers. What does he have, 7 turnovers over the first 2 games of this series? Obviously, the majority of those coming in game 1. He was a lot better in game 2. And De'Aaron Fox is the veteran guy. He's got to keep everybody settled down and keep everybody calm. But tonight is about Victor. Madison Square Garden, that stage, as you've heard him say many times, this is what he's built for. The first 2 games, by Vic standards, have been pedestrian. He can't be pedestrian tonight. He has to have himself one of the games, and his teammates around have to follow suit. That's the game plan tonight for the San Antonio Spurs. That's going to do it for us. Come watch the game here at the Roo Pub, 281 in Redland Road. My table's got some spots. Come hang out with us. Rob and AJ, first reaction tomorrow morning at 6 on the Morning Huddle. I'm nervous. Go Spurs, go.
Riding I-35 with the Blitz.